Welcome to this live stream. What's going on? Welcome, Orange. I gotta turn up my brightness so I can see the comments. Beauty. Welcome, friends. some noise pollution via phones. Right now we're just doing some improvisation. For some reason, the construct of the main core theme of Interstellar alongside, I don't even know, it's like Attack on Titan mixed with Interstellar mixed with something else. I think it's like Gymopedia or something. It's all just kind of flowing through in some sort of improvised take. I don't know. It's a beautiful key. It just comes to show how brilliant a lot of these compositions that exist all in the same sort of key or similar structure. Don't know how to perform any of those songs, but thank you so much for recommending. It's still an improv artist, still original improv artist. Don't do covers. Don't desire to get copyrighted either. Hope you guys are doing well in your life. Hope things are, unraveling in a beautiful way. Finding yourself show up consistently with discipline, devotion. Finding yourself just really just live and be present. I'm in this actually interesting phase where the last couple days, especially yesterday, I found myself Magic Polens. Interesting sound, or interesting title. Never heard of that, but yeah. I found myself very actively going through a lot of my clips or my stream content. Really just going through the last 4 months of content. Blessings, brother. Absolutely, it is a worthy fight. I think that itself, I think I had this conversation a few days back. I've been sick the last 5-6 days, but I found myself, today's the first day that I could officially say I'm finally not sick. But, so I feel pretty 100%. But, yeah, it's I remember kind of reflecting on my one friend. She was kind of expressing a bit of her own projections about I don't know, just the state of modern this and humans. And I remember just kind of saying that, like, point blank, being like, yeah, you can focus on all these dimensions of the harrowing domains of how humanity's been in packaging and, you know, experiencing a lot of really dark chapters. Or it's like you can realize that there are people, there are men, there are women that are like really being, I would say, warriors of light, if you will, like if you want to use that term, but in the most immediate sense, where it's not like a philosophical, esoteric, or metaphysical term. It's like the actuality of a warrior of something deeper that is showing up and actually standing, rooting themselves and really being a warrior in the more like ancient and modern sense, where it's like you're actually showing up in a combatant way against that which needs to be combated. And I think it's when you have a level of confidence, like, what, I'm showing up and allowing myself to be present for the strife and the battles of this modern experience, and knowing that you are in fact on that farce. You can rest a little more easily. You can be like, what, I know this world is dark, there's a lot going on, but the reality is, if you are one that's stepping up and stepping into your truth and really just showing up as, especially as a man of this world, that is embodying that archetype of the warrior, but you're doing so from a place of clarity, from a place of awareness. You're doing so from a place of really wanting to offer a healthier space. I think that's a really extraordinary thing. We'll return to this. Whoa. I've been experimenting a lot with, if you've been here the last couple days, I've been using lav mics to really just create a really high quality audio experience. That's been really exciting in truth. I think trying to really create crisp, clear audio using lav mics, it's a very experimental thing where it's like you gotta really just see how audio makes such a massive difference, especially if you're, a music YouTuber like myself, where it's like to have the ability to actually dial in really high quality audio is really fun and exciting. It's kind of a little bit tricky. It's almost like even a little bit of a mindfuck, because I'm not a sound engineer, an audio engineer by any means, but I've come to really just focus on the beautiful nuances of crisp audio. I mean, with that, let's interject some crisp audio. The audio probably sounds decent, but hey, what's good? What's good, Butler? What's good, Dave? Let's see. Testing 1, 2. Stereo. We got stereo. So this is our stereo. 4 decibels, 4 gain audio we have here. Basically, it's like the same, but you just get a clear, crisper audio that's flowing through a lav mic here. And I have various ways that I'm experimenting with the audio through my guitar, but it's all just, it's been an interesting evolution. But yeah, people always harshly critique humans. They may. I mean, we are primal beings. We are just animals trying to just return to our primal selves, but let's see, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna probably plug it all in 100%. We'll do audio for now. We'll let our Google Pixel mic do the thing until we want to dial it in. Yeah, kind of like I was mentioning. Thank you, brother. Tips deeply appreciated more than ever right now. I feel like I'm in a interesting conquest where I'm trying to think of deeply how I want to almost like look at what I want to really invest in this channel, be it like studio space. Like that's kind of one of the most clear things, but I deeply appreciate that, brother. Deeply appreciate that. Yeah, but it's like I feel, yeah, it's part of my mind is bananas. Like I really want to conceptualize how I can almost like make it clear where people, if they desire to tip or if they're just going to contribute, invest in this channel, where it's going to go to. And I think I want to really just like crystallize making an audio or a studio space session that I want to do to purposely just record a lot of my own original music alongside sound journeys at like a studio quality thing. That's kind of one of my first intentions I would love to really lean into. I appreciate the support, brother. But yeah, it's been funny though, these last 24 hours or 48 hours, I've been actually going back through all my clips, just for the first time ever actually, going through everything I've done in my live streams, which is a lot. It's like, it's like, at least 3-4 hours every single day for the last like 5 months, truthfully. And I'm looking back, like if I were to like go through, all my lives and just like find clips and actually found a way to use OBS. Someone mentioned that you could just record on OBS. You just do a little OBS recording, screen recording, and then I can just go to my own lives and clip everything I have and release it as content. So as you might see, my recent long format video is actually the first tier of doing that, where I took a talk. It was like a 2-3 minute talk that was from a live stream that was from like a month or two ago. And I was like, this is a really beautiful discussion. It's a really beautiful conversation point. And then I just captured it and then added some parts of it. It was talking about like dopamine. It was actually a really beautiful talk underlining basically why I personally have found social media is so successfully programming and gripping us and like into a place where it's like, if you look at it, you're like, I pick up my phone and you pick up and maybe like you go on Instagram or Facebook or maybe YouTube, right? You might on some unconscious level or very actively on an unconscious level, you think you are seeking something. Like you're like, I'm here for whatever reason. You might not even consciously aware of it. Like your mind is like, I pick up my phone because there's something on here for me. Maybe you had a quotation that was a philosopher, maybe you connected with a human being, or maybe some sort of dimension of connection, or some domain of intimacy, or just community as a whole. You found that maybe on a social media platform. But the idea is social media is not designed. It's not designed to actually successfully fulfill your needs. Like that's the truth. Is like when you go on social media, there's a very slim percentage that you're going to go on social media and you're going to meet somebody or connect with somebody or have a conversation with somebody or find a quotation that really beautifully emulates what you're feeling. That is a very, very slim percentage. And I would say that's actually intentionally so, because they're trying to keep you hooked. They're trying to keep you looped in. Where it's like if you go through social media, right, you're on Facebook and you like scroll through Facebook, or maybe you try to have interaction with somebody. They've designed the platform, so Facebook for instance, to purposely make it so if your mind is subconscious, like, I want to fulfill a desire. I just want to have some level of connection, just human connection, just talking about, the real world and talking about life and existence. Their platform is not necessarily designed to actually deliver you the fullest, fulfilling, enriching experience. Why? Because when you don't fully receive that experience, you get little blips and glimmers of it. It keeps you addicted. Your mind is like, well, maybe next time when I go on this platform, I'll get some actual insight. Maybe if I really stay here long enough or scroll long enough or try to have a conversation long enough, it'll actually reveal, what I desire to connect to. And again, this is a multi-dimensional thing. This could be like you want to, maybe our younger generation, you're like, what, I want to see what it looks like to be a man. Like you see like a thing that's showing someone do a cold plunge, or they're talking about philosophies of how to motivate yourself or how to develop discipline, or maybe it's like whatever it is, right? Social media is trying to give you these little like teasers of what it means, these little substitutions, these one-dimensional narratives of what things are. But the reality is it's an illusion. It's an illusion. It's purposely programming you for you to return to the social media platform. So you're getting these little blips, these little teasers of what the actual construct of what you desire to experience. Because if you just went on social media, right, you maybe met or connected with something very significant that you're like, wow, that really is like, it makes you want to throw down your phone and go in the real world and go and interact with said person or have a full enriching human experience, then you would never feel the incandescent desire to scroll through social media endlessly. And what I'm simply saying is, that's basically what I touch on in this video. It's a short video. It touches on some elements. It's like, it's like we unconsciously are programmed to try to fulfill a desire that will never be fulfilled. And that's the programming working. It's letting you successfully loop that idea that, but I desire intimacy, I desire connection, I desire maybe, I don't know, unpackaging a dating construct, or maybe it's like you want to unpackage truth, or you want to unpackage masculine energy or feminine energy. It's getting you addicted to the idea of something, but never fully delivering you the actual truth of it. And the reality is, you will never find, at least in the slim, slim percentage, maybe in some degree, but you will never actually find what you are desiring to find. And this is really important to accept and acknowledge that. Because when you do acknowledge it, you're like, wait a second, there's nothing really here on the deepest level for me here. You can see through the programming, like your unconscious programming, where you're just like, but maybe on the next scroll or the next interaction, I'll find something that's real, something that's real. Maybe it's here, it has to be, right? That is an illusion. They're wanting to program you. They want you to return to their platform and letting you know that you're never going to truly find what you actually desire to fulfill yourself or your needs or whatever you're desiring to see. The only place you will actually find these things is truly in the real world. Is truly in the real world. Hey, rock and roll. Thank you, brother. Sing Bohemian Rhapsody. Honestly, no idea how to sing that, brother, but I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah, deeply appreciate you, genius. Like, that's... I hope your training's going well, brother. I hope, as it is kind of returning to the core thought of where you're sitting with is... I think it's important that, when you think of like an ancient warrior, right? I watched Last Samurai the other day. I watched it start to finish because I was just obsessed with that movie. It's like, when you look at how an ancient samurai operates, they're not trying to fight because they're trying to win a battle per se. It's like the main character in Last Samurai, the two main characters, but what's his name? Katsuo. I'm gonna find his name actually. Matsuno. Last Samurai characters. So that, Tom Cruise of that, Timothy Spell. Where is this? Ken Wanatabe, Morisuga, yeah, Katsumoto. Katsumoto, the anti-hero, or one of the main protagonists in the film, depending on how you look at it. Katsumoto was a samurai who genuinely desired to fight, but not to win necessarily, even though he was in, an ancient time where his entire life was devoted to developing the ability to understand battle, the art of war. He's a student of war, as he says. But I think it's important to understand, if you're a warrior, like a true ancient warrior, you're not there to try to win the battle per se. You're just there to realize how you can honor the art of war, of being a warrior. So it's almost like, in many rights, it's like, I think it's more important to understand how it is you show up in the face of farce, of a battle. Like, basically realizing what it means to be a warrior to you and showing up in that way, whatever that is, versus just being what a warrior might be. And it's like, that's where I was underlining the idea of, like, if you're a warrior of light, like you're one that's like, I desire to fight that which needs to be combated in such a way. It doesn't mean you're trying to be like a warrior or just be like, take a fighting stance on everything necessarily, but it means you're trying to actually be a student of what it means to be a warrior, especially in modern times. So that's almost like what I'm trying to underline is, I think it's important for a lot of the modern men, like, we're in a very unique battle. Like, let's be real here. We're not ancient samurais. We're not barbarians or warriors or Vikings in the ancient times, fortunately, because I'm sure that was a harrowing time. But we are facing a farce. Like, in 2026, we have a very active farce. It's clear as day. We are, in fact, in very, we could call it a spiritual war. We could call it a technological or, psychological war, or all these things, right? But what I'm simply underlining is, I think it's important for us as human beings, as men, as women, as two, to return to recognize what it is we are up against, like what it is we are actually battling, and realize how important it is now more than ever to be warriors of what it is that we are in combat with in modern 2026. And if you can recognize that, like, if you can process it, like, oh, we're not, like, we are in fact at war. Maybe not all of us are in an actual physical war naturally. And if you are, my condolences, or, be strong. But the reality is, like,
we are in war, but it's not the same war that your ancestors fought. And I think it's really important to acknowledge this, because when you understand this, I think a lot of human beings, but men in particular, they're very like removed from the warrior essence, from the warrior archetype. Like they're maybe desensitized, maybe they're even passive in some right. They're just like neutralized. They're desensitized to what the actual modern farce is in our society. And I think if you actually like look deep into the truth of what is going on in the world around us, you should have a fire underneath you, like lit underneath you. You should be like fiery. Be like, you know what? I want to show up every day and be the best human being, the best man you can be, because we are in fact in a modern farce, in many modern farces, like many modern wars occurring, that we as men, as individuals, should have a fire to really desire to show up for, to be combatant to. And I think it's just an important thing to think about. Don't discuss our issues of VAR. Yeah. I once knew a housekeeper. Wow. I don't know what to tell you, Haggy. Thank you for sharing, but if that's the way, if that's really like, if that, I know you're trolling or you're trying to do some low tier dimension of comedy, but brother, if that's like the way, that's the executive decision you decided to make of being like, let's pop on a stream and share, like fill the comment section with some complete irregularity, then I don't know what to tell you, brother. I think you got more important things to focus on than, I don't know, whatever you're trying to unpackage. I think you probably should put down your phone, Haggy. It's enough. That's enough phone time for today, my dog. I think you gotta take a moment to reflect on why that's your prerogative. But thanks for sharing. Yeah. You want this, we spread this, rinse, repeat. You keep coming, we delivering. Thank you, brother. That's a truly fundamental part. Like if we're going, I don't think many people are aware or unaware when they're having a negative addiction to social media. Just another battle we have. I don't think it's trickery. It's mutual understanding. That's part of the problem, though. That's part of the problem, I would say, brother, is, and I think about that actively, actually. I think about that all the time, in truth. Let me plug in my guitar so we can create some, I don't know, background theme, some back theme for this. The reality is, a lot of people, I think it's jarring and literally harrowing. Let's be real here. Like, this is kind of the underlying context that I would love to say is, I think it is harrowing that a lot of us have normalized insane amounts of dysfunction. Like, that's a really interesting thing that I think it's really important to sit with. Is that a lot of us, you and I, doesn't even matter if we're talking about like the most extreme extremes, we as human beings have in fact in 2026 normalized dysfunction. Like, if you're in an older generation, like if you're like, I'm 31, if you're a little older than me or my age or wherever you're at, it's probably a little bit clear. You're like looking at the generation like, whoa, like what's going on here? Why are we starting to devolve? Why are we in some rights, without even getting too like political, or not even political, or sociological, why have we dysfunction, or why have we normalized dysfunction? Like, this is the key thing. Is like, why in some rights are a lot of us like, we're like, oh yeah, we're profoundly addicted to our phones, where our dopamine is just a mess, our mental health is an all-time low, but then we sort of just like almost laugh at it. We're just like, that's okay, that's just 2026. Just keep scrolling, keep your head down, keep laughing and being distracted by AI and the larger issues. Like, let's not actually realize that like this is really really fucked up. Like, let's not like address the elephant in the room. And like, that's the kind of first core thing I kind of want to just underline is, part of similar to what I was saying about being warriors, in this modern farce, is like, a lot of us should be frustrated. We should be like, it's like, if you're not suppressing your emotions, if you're not like suppressing and escaping at every given, corner and turn that you're offered, you should feel, in fact, a little bit confused and borderline, frustrated, being like, wow, like, why the actual fuck? Not frustrated to a point where it clouds your energy or it ruins your day, but like, you should think about these things and be like, why have we in fact normalized dysfunction? Like, why have we in fact, like, if we're really looking at the state that a lot of modern mental health and a lot of modern humans are at, it's kind of jarring. Like, it's really like, It's really like the worst thing we can do is just accept the fact that we are all like dysregulated, addicted to our phones, and this is just like the way it is. Like we sort of look at things in a sort of like, a level of acceptance. It's like I think it's important to just acknowledge, like introduce awareness. That in itself is very powerful. You'd be like, you know what? Is this actually really jarring and really fucked up? That a lot of us have like really, really bad relationships with our bodies, with our dopamine, with our phones, with simple things, fundamental parts of the human experience, like focusing, like literally just being present and being a genuine present human being. Like there's foundational parts of the human experience that I think a lot of us are so removed from. And I think the long story short, the simplest thing is we need to just acknowledge that. We just need to be like, you know what? This is not okay. Like it's not okay to recognize that it's being so profoundly dysfunctional should not be normalized. That's kind of the first little stream of thought I kind of really want to introduce here. Welcome. Greetings, good vibes from Finland. Thank you, brother. Sending good energy from Canada, brother. 1 second here. We're going to... But anyways, straying away from the almost the doom and gloom kind of like, obviously the state of the world's an interesting place, but I want to more so focus on what does this mean? Like if we're like, okay, the world's a bit dysfunctional, we've normalized dysfunctionality. It is what it is. That's okay. It's not a hopeless affair, I would say. But yeah, the whole entirety of that was just me kind of underlining some of the stuff I've been talking about that I found myself returned to when I created a long format video where I was like, you know what, this was a beautiful conversation that I think really hit the nail on the head. It's like, here we are, we wake up in our days, we think we seek something. What that something is, we're often being filled with all these illusions, these illusionary constructs, be it your phone. This is probably, I don't know about you, but before I really like stripped away the programming and filled my life with healthy dopamine via cold plunges, via, creating a business, be it healthy, intimate relationships, I was a product of these things, like very actively. I would wake up and open my phone. Some days I still do in some regard, in slim ways, where I find myself trying to fulfill my needs, my human, baser, primal needs, with something that will never fill them. And that's kind of what I just want to underline. It's like, if you're going on Facebook, you're going on, who knows, Snapchat. For some reason, the younger generation is really addicted to Snapchat. Snapchat's super fucked up. Like, let's be real here. Let's not, like, sugarcoat it. Hopefully you're not an advocate or a user of Snapchat. I remember I deleted Snapchat, like, multiple months ago, just with a rule of thumb. I was like, well, I'm just going to delete this and deactivate it permanently. Never open that app again. But that's just an example of, these are apps that are designed to basically try to trick you that they have some sort of domain that you can, find fulfillment, find perspective, find clarity, find something at the heart of it, connection. Like connection, community, not even like intimate romantic connection, but just connection. They're trying to give you this illusion of like, but here's connection, or here's community, here's philosophical dialogue or context. But in the reality is the way they're designed is to addict you. It's not designed to give you what you actually desire. Hell, one true exposure to an authentic interaction, like an authentic human being that actually fulfills all your needs, and you look at it and you're like, wow, why did I ever even desire to pick up this application or to believe that there was anything on the other side of this door that was the illusion of social media? Like, this is the kind of weirder construct, is like, it's not the problem. The problem is not just social media. It's not like, you want to use social media as a tool, run a business, say hello to your friends, go to events. Beautiful, do so. That's brilliant. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. But I think is people need to realize that if your ability to discern if this app is even serving you remotely, like, are you even on this application because you're even conscious of why? Like, is it actually fulfilling a role that you desire it to, or is it just programming you, manipulating you? That's the core word. Are these applications manipulating you, or are you, in fact, consciously entering these with a conscious awareness of when to set a healthy boundary, when to get in there, use it as a tool, and then get out? And unfortunately, most cases, the answer is no. For myself, for many, many years, the answer was evidently, of course, it's not, and probably will fall in that category. So just food for thought. Anyways, we're going to return to creating an improvised vibrational experience. It's 12:09. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go into 432 hertz tuning right now. We'll pop into the 432 hertz frequency here. Hola, welcome friends. Here I'm going through the comments that I so there's pluses and minuses. I think today's kids are wusses, but combat sports among children are more practiced than ever. Yeah. It's honestly, genius, I think it's a broad, shout out zinc, by the way. If you guys, I sometimes use, but like ultra zinc, I gotta say, some of the best supplement, naturally stimulating, has little bits of green tea, lots of zinc, lots of healthy supplements. I take this very often. I love zinc. I mean, if you eat lots of red meat, you probably don't need zinc, but yeah, this is a good chat to have for sure. It's like this is conversations I just desire to have people think about. It's not necessarily being like, okay, like I agree or I align with this, or let's have a massive conversation on packages. We could, but that would take, probably all day long. But the reality is I just want people to just shed a little bit of awareness. Like if they even plant a seed of awareness and think to themselves, when I open this application or when I open this little app, what is my actual intention of why I'm here? That's all I really desire to do in this little monologue / dialogue is I want you to just ask yourself, like, if I'm opening this application, like if we were like right now collectively, like, all right, let's go on Facebook. Don't recommend Facebook. I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, just don't go on Facebook. This is not a promotion. But if I'm like, all right, I'm on Facebook. Whoa, I have Alexander Misko pop on my stream. Cool. What is my brain responding to? Like, even if I'm on this application, what inspired me, for lack of a better word, what inspired me to open up this application? Like, was it coming from a place of a compulsive, almost like lack-based narrative, or was it a place of like, maybe you're stressed and your brain is like, your nervous system dysregulates, so you're like, all right, let's go on Facebook, let's see what Facebook has for me here. It's just like, I don't even think I'm trying to say, like, I'm not trying to demonize Facebook or anything of the sort. But I do think it's important to be like, why exactly? Now, just critical thinking 101. What is my intention for why I'm going on this app? Like, do I even have an awareness of what it is? Most cases, most people probably don't. And that's okay. But what I'm saying is when you penetrate your narratives, you might come to some interesting conclusions that basically are translating into telling yourself that you would be better off using this application with a deeper intention. And what the deeper intention usually is get in there, be very direct, be very concise, express your truth or connect with human beings, find why you're actually on this application to begin with, and then get out. That's all I'm really saying is like, be concise in the fact of the nature of being like, get on the app, be extremely clear cut to yourself. Like, why am I going this application? If it's just a doom scroll, probably you shouldn't be doing that. But if, no shame in that. But if you want to like find the underlying intention of why you're actually on this application, address it. Maybe find a way to like, make plans with a friend, or find a really cool event nearby, or who knows, whatever. Maybe find a new book that you want to read, and then get off this application. Anyways, essential tenacity. Oi, what's good, brother? How's it going, brother? From another father and another mother. I'm good, man. I'm very good. I can happily say I'm not sick anymore. Like, I'm a little bit nasally, but I've been kind of like fighting off this one little weird, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a cold / allergic reaction. Just, I don't really know, but I'm feeling pretty good. Happily, my immune system's doing its thing. Bought tons of turmeric, tons of camu powder. Yeah. Welcome, Enchanted. Yeah, welcome, Tenacity. Hope you've been well too, brother. You know, what's been new and exciting? Love has been new and exciting. Love has been new, exciting. Capital L love. Like love in the sense of loving my life, loving the humans in my life, loving my partner. Like holy fuck. Love has been very exciting. Um I'd say circulating energy and moving and entertaining freedom on the capital construct of freedom. That's been exciting too. You know, just being like, you know what, I really, really want to go and connect with the Japanese culture. That's been pretty real for me. And I've also been excited to, I don't know, just create really high quality content and continue to just dive deeper in my intention as a content creator and try to create a really great comprehensive experience for the viewer, but also naturally for myself. So I'm doubling down on that. I don't know. I've been sick. I've been getting over being sick, feeling the love, feeling a bit of insight flow through. I like this quote. Someone just told me yesterday. Which quote is this? I'm so behind on these comments, but it is what it is. Kurt Cobain, play Nirvana. Of course, Kurt. I don't know how to perform Nirvana, but I like your band, Kurt. You're killing it, brother. What's up, cowboy? Throwing out some country music. Also, don't know how to play country. I'm going to get through these comments here, though. Thoughts and becoming addictive because they releases chemicals in our brain. That's our personalities are a product of our thoughts. That's correct. I mean, I actually had a long conversation about this yesterday when I did a force stream. The thing that Joe Dispenza teaches us, like if you read The Basis of Metaphysical Philosophy, I'm trying to find where my book is. It's probably over there. But we are a product of our neurochemical experience. That's true. We're also a product, of course, our psychological experience, our narratives, the energy we imbue this. But it's been widely proven in research that our behavioral patterns, that is our consistent, well, habits, that are our behavioral patterns, our beliefs that are infused with our behaviors and our habits, this is more so a product of our felt experience, our nervous system. That is, our behavioral patterns are more deeply influenced from how our body perceives these patterns. So it's not necessarily always about, yes, dopamine is important. Like as I just underlined and talked about for a good 5-10 minutes, is like most of us, unfortunately, are the product of a very dysfunctional dopamine patterning. Like that's just how it is. Like let's be real here. It's like if you're not like radically engaging with a healthy dopamine, which let's be real, I'm not trying to like categorize or define all of you in here because maybe you are outside of that. Maybe you have a really healthy passion and purpose rooted in developing a thriving business, or maybe you're rocking arduous, you know, strength training and martial form training and all these things. Maybe you're healthy, you have a healthy grasp on dopamine, but the sad reality is unless you are, yes, like powerfully diving in, exposing your brain to healthy dopamine, like really like interjecting that healthy dopamine, the mass majority of us are probably sitting here circulating the vast array. We're drowning in this vast sea of very unhealthy dopamine. And that's just the default. Like that's like I can safely and confidently say that the mass majority of us are in fact a product of lots of unhealthy dopamine. It is what it is, but unless you're like interjecting very healthy dopamine, your dopaminergic patterns are probably not serving you fully. But even if they are, like even if you're like, you know what, I can say confidently my dopamine is serving me, I have lots of healthy this, that, the other going in my life, we also are a massive product of what our felt experience is confirming within us. Like this is Joe Dispenza-esque literature 101. He underlines this very in-depthly, is that a lot of us, we really need to reprogram the way our body, and again in turn our behavioral patterns, is not only experiencing the world, but is perceiving our internal world and our thoughts and our neurochemistry. It's basically like, how are you associating within your felt experience the narratives and the thoughts and the things that you're experiencing? And in most cases, you are just unconsciously or consciously responding to what your body's felt experience has been programmed, for the better and for the worse. So it's like, yeah, your body, like honoring your body, letting your nervous system, letting your felt experience, really introducing an awareness to that and being like, oh, if I'm not living my most abundant reality, like if I'm not really feeling on the deepest level, you know, gratitude, happiness, higher vibrational emotions, or you're just not really seeing the beauty of your life with clarity, a lot of it probably has to do with the behavioral patterns in relation to your felt experience in your body. Anyways, that's a lot of conceptualization here, but honestly, I've been wasting my entire day finding a good guitarist after another. Oh wow. You pick up a lot of little things watching other players go at it. Wow. That's really cool. The Count of Saint Germain. I think that's a very insightful thing to do, brother. Because, yeah, without going on a billion different rabbit holes, I can go on a lot of rabbit holes relating to music, but I think that's awesome. You're doing it right. The ability to gain inspiration from other musicians, I really think, like the simple mentality to see a musician who's doing something beautifully and be like, that inspires me, that actually encourages me to want to go deeper in the practice versus looking at it like, oh, that's impossible or that's an impossibility, I'll never get there. That is like a belief switch away that is really important to discern. Basically, if you can watch a billion other guitarists and be like, you know what, they're killing it, I love what they're doing, and take away one little thing, then you're going to, inevitably, you're going to succeed as a musician. Like, it's a belief that's ingrained for success. How do you do that? Because they're always saying 440 is detrimental to the body. I think it's not that 440 is like inherently detrimental, but 432 is aligned with nature. So here, I'm going to go down to 432 with that. Let's go down to 432. It's going to sound a little weird at first, but we're all here for it. .432. Zinc is great. Yeah, you said it, I suppose. Honestly, I mean, that's everything and anything is great for testosterone. That's good for, yeah, for sexual organs. And I think people need to wake up and find our weak point, get discipline every day, and try to be a better version and make the world a bit of a better place. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Cresso. I agree, brother. You know, Facebook, you just accept any friend request and check your message to avoid a boomer memes. It's, yeah, I mean, honestly, Facebook is, like, let's be real, all social media constructs, they're just reflections. They're not anything special. It's an algorithm. Like, we can get very philosophical and psychological about it, but I'll be very clear cut to the point. It's like, what I find intriguing about Facebook and all these social media constructs is they are just a reflection of the human beast. Like, they're just a reflection of the human beast. They are literally a sophisticated technology that's meant to mirror and learn from the human experience, your human experience, all of our human experiences. It's literally just like this weird little, like, well, I forget the word it's calling. It's basically like, it's mimicking a biological rhythm and biological thinking patterns that is, you know, the human experience. And it's using a robotic perspective, you know, algorithms to break down what that is and then reflect that back to us. That in itself is actually quite problematic. Like, let's be real here. It's like the fact that we are basically trying to let this computer, this entity, reflect back to us. It's I mean, it can be useful, but it's like it's really just like a very like weird way of like us creating a distorted distortion of ourselves and then constantly like having that reflected back to us. It's just, it's a, I forget the word I'm kind of searching for. There's like a very interesting like podcast that explained the essence of this, but basically like it's technology that's very complex that's trying to emulate our human experience and our human rhythms, and it's gonna fail. It's gonna fail 99 times out of 100. I mean, that's a made-up statistic. I don't know, but I'd say like I kind of stand behind what I kind of said is, if you go on Facebook or whatever social media platform and you have an awareness of like why you're going there. Like, I'm going on here to connect with this person. Yeah, like make some plans, go into the real world, spend the day together. Beautiful. But if for whatever reason the technology's programmed you to believe that, but it's okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours having a conversation with this person, scrolling through here and going to this thing and spending all this time basically not doing anything, that in itself is reinforcing a lot of compulsive behavior. That in itself, like if you're self-aware and you're like, what, I realize this is a little bit dysfunctional and it is what it is, then it is what it is. But in many rights, it's a slippery slope. Yeah, we eat zinc the same way. Hey, is there any other way, really? Try this analogy. The guitar is designed to addict you to its sound. That is a hit of dopamine. It's not better or worse. To me, it's like watching reality TV unfold. The sound of the guitar. Yes, but the sound of the guitar, like what we're actually responding to, like the more I've thought about what exactly we are, like if you hear this, right? You're hearing these patterns, these notes, these melodic statements. Your brain isn't necessarily more, I would say, addicted to that. You're not going to be like, okay, play that again the exact same way, let's go, or like, I need to hear this again or else I'm going to suffer a detrimental dip in dopamine. Because that's how dopamine fundamentally is operating. It's anticipating a sort of a wave. It's like, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. It's going to go up and down below the baseline. I think in the essence of what guitar is awakening is more so you're connecting with the frequency. You're connecting with a frequency, like a resonance pattern. Like this is why I think sound healing is so effective, right? It's like we in fact are more drawn, like maybe you listen to like, Metallica or Led Zeppelin or I don't know, some sort of those bands don't even say, like you listen to music or rock music or metal music. Sure, if you're listening to like, someone like shred out and do like a crazy dope solo, like, I don't know, a good song like Rocky Like a Hurricane or something, part of your brain might be like, wow, they're wearing all these cool clothing, they're, like rocking out on stage and they're living a rock star lifestyle and this, that, the other. Maybe that elicits a dopamine release where you're just like, whoa, I wanna live that rock star lifestyle and I wanna emulate that, unapologetic, no fucks energy, which is not even a bad thing. That's like a beautiful human mirror. But the essence of what music is really doing, I think, is it's attuning us to the ancient frequency that is somatically, like in our body, it's penetrating beyond our mind into our nervous system. And the resonance pattern is either aligning us with a frequency, maybe a frequency that's aligning with higher vibrational emotions or lower vibrational emotions. Both are valuable. But I think what's so beautiful about music, particularly sound healing, a lot of what I love to focus in this channel here, it's like it's penetrating deeper than just your neurochemistry. Maybe, yeah, you're like, wow, that was pure, that sounded great. Let's actually flip this up a little bit. But I really think, like, if we're just riffing off of that, I think, in general, music has the ability to go deeper. Like, it really does. And I think part of it is it's because it's accessing your felt experience. Kind of like what I was talking about a little earlier of, like, how our brain, it can operate in such ways where it's perceiving things, it's experiencing emotions, this, that, the other way. But there's something deeper than what your brain experiences that is often influencing us very deeply, and that's our felt experience. That's in our nervous system. And I think when we're talking about how, and again, I'm not an expert on these things, this goes deeper. Sure, the music influences our brain, our neural patterns, it influences, our psychological state, and it goes into our mind. But I think the deeper totality of how we experience music is felt. It is felt. Like when you hear one of your favorite songs and you hear them pouring out their heart and playing some beautiful chords and all these beautiful, dimensions of performance, they're just offering an authentic human experience. You're more so feeling that. Like you're not experiencing it like you would a hit of dopamine if you were to, I don't know, open a social media app or, I don't know, do anything that elicits a high spike in deep of dopamine. Most cases, when you're experiencing music, you're feeling it on a somatic level, at an emotional level. Not always, but this is what I think is very interesting. And part of what's interesting about when you experience music on a felt level is there's ways to experience music that is not only connecting with you on a felt level, like the resonance patterns behind you. You're like, wow, that's like even what did I put this? Like even if you just hear this, this frequency, this is a frequency fork that I often strike throughout the day. I tune myself to this frequency often just because it's just like, and I find especially when I'm going through a challenging day, like if I'm not grounded and I'm finding myself go throughout my reality, for some reason, rooting myself in just a singular frequency, especially 528, is very, very deeply penetrating. And it goes beyond the mind, but I think part of it is your body is becoming attuned to the frequency. And if you now introduce frequencies that are not just regular frequencies, but frequencies that are ancient, frequencies maybe that you can summon with your voice, or frequencies that resemble like an ancient, almost like tribal sound, ancient culturally rich music, this, I think, then lets you connect with a felt experience that doesn't just relate to how you consciously conceive, music and culture. It's almost like you're connecting with your ancestors. You're connecting with a lineage of music that has literally gone and unraveled through hundreds, if not thousands of years. And this is where I think music becomes very, very, very powerful and transformative. It's like when you're somehow accessing music that is not only like, accessing the cultural lineage of music that maybe has been relevant for 100 years or 50, 60, 70 years, but if you're looking at music that somehow is transcending space and time and literally is connecting you to, say, like ancient sounds that have been around for thousands of years, that is, I think, what is the most profoundly healing. And the simplest right, it's like you're connecting to your primal ancestors through a sound and through a vibration and frequency pattern. That, I think, is profoundly healing. Anyways, I didn't really know or anticipate that was the direction this was going to go, but I like it. Excuse me. But did you get that hat in some kind of steampunk custom guy? I did customize this hat, yeah. I got it through Etsy. I designed this myself. Like, she basically had a hat she posted that was like gray acid wash. But I desired to customize everything. I like shortened this part, chose a different color palette, made her do even more acid wash to it, and yeah, designed it. Yeah. Anyway, say la vie. We're gonna drift into some music here. Yeah, welcome to this live stream. Looks fitted. Honestly, bro, Japan is one of the outside of the United States that I would like to visit. Honestly, Japan, brother, like, without getting too deep on a rabbit hole, because I want to kind of like stream back into these comments, I feel Japan is a society that's, they seem to be built off of very powerful foundations. Like in the simplest right, Japanese people, in my experience, Japanese and all Asian people actually, a lot, listen, I mean not all, but most Asian people, like Korean cultures, Japanese cultures, Chinese cultures in many rights, they seem to have a rich heritage of very beautiful foundational values. They're obviously not perfect, but I personally resonate a lot with, yeah, Japanese core values. To help you immune system, I would mix the apple cider vinegar, garlic, turmeric, curry, tobacco sauce, lemon juice, spoon of honey. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I've been doing a lot for my immune system recently. But I appreciate the thought. Yeah, I've been doing like a lot of little remedies and elixirs and stuff, but I'll consider that. But again, I don't think I have half of those things at this point. But it is what it is. My immune system, it's been healing effectively. I think a lot of it more has to do with environmental pollutants and things. I purchased recently this, actually. Camu Camu. I don't know if you guys are familiar, and also, of course, turmeric. But Camu Camu is actually, it's from the Amazon, the Camu Camu berry. The Camu berry. It basically is pure vitamin C. Like, this is just for food for thought. If you guys ever desire to engage in Camu powder is pure vitamin C. Most vitamin C, you know, you read up online, this is vitamin C has all these different healing properties. Most vitamin C doesn't actually operate on all of those healing properties. Camu Camu comes from whole food vitamin C, straight from the camu berry. And it actually does host all of the benefits, the full spectrum of benefits that you'll see that vitamin C is often promoted. If you just get ascorbic acid, you know, vitamin C powder, that actually doesn't do a mass majority of what they promote vitamin C to do. But Camu Camu powder actually does. So that's why so many of us smoked weed. Right. Very good. I think letting go of things you can't change and not letting them affect you is a big deal. Sure. Okay. Big problem is everyone thinks they have the same level of thought. They do. A lot of people function differently. Interesting. A lot of hot takes. Thanks for sharing, dude. Car accidents, reality challenger teaches a lot of important lessons. In the same way, history helps teach us what to avoid. Wow. One second. I think that. The speaker is just, it's not the one, it's just cooked, so to speak. Alright, I think we've mastered audio effectively here. So Charles Descartes. Charles Descartes? Charles Descartes. You don't mean Rene Descartes, you mean Charles Descartes. I'm pretty sure you mean Rene, unless I'm somehow overlooking a name that Rene didn't have. Rene Descartes. Let's see. Rene Descartes with French. Yeah, there's no Charles in there. But I mean, yeah, say la vie. I hear you. Yes. And the frets. They act like I am, therefore I see. Very good. Okay. Solace is a very rare book, but really changes lives. The Sophies. Interesting. Now, I appreciate you guys sharing your perspective. Again, I would say this is something I really want to advocate for is precision of language. Like in the sense of not like the means of like filter yourself, blah, blah, blah. People you might think of when you say precision of language. But I think it's important to, especially on a stream, you know, let yourself really be intentional with what you say, what you speak, what you're wanting to introduce. You know, you can speak whatever you desire to, and honestly, I'm very much an advocate of freedom of expression, you know, authentically expressing yourself. But yeah, for the sake of dialogue, I think it's important to really just like give yourself the ability to also hold space for not only just saying, you know, things that you really feel relevant, but allow yourself to see how you can listen and see the balance of a conversation. Now, it might sound kind of bizarre, being I'm the one behind this stream, and I have the freedom of speaking through words and tonality, but I just say, for the greater allotment of these comments, let yourself have intention behind what you speak, I would say. I'm mainly saying this to the count of Saint Germain, because I like what you're saying, I like where you're at, brother, but I think it's not about the quantity of just throwing out a bunch of different narratives and dialogues. Like, that's great. I get it. It's like good thoughts, brother. But for the sake of comprehension, I would say it's good to be receptive, not just to speak for the sake of. But, if you want to have a balance of conversation, let it be so. Because, yeah, as one that really loves dialogue, I love conversation, and I really honor this realm, communicating. I think it's really important to not only just say and speak with intention, but have an awareness of how are you comprehending the way that you're introducing said words. Because this is about balance. Yeah. So it's the tones of the brain most identifying. Okay. Made me wonder if aliens think our music is terrible. That's why they say music has soul. Very nice. Nice. I think I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to like respond immediately to everything I'm verbalizing. It's commendable, my dog. But again, yeah. So any thoughts on lowering the frequency overtones in a Tuvan Kyrgyz tradition? Examples: Hun, Hurtu. Interesting. Are you speaking to sort of like, so any thoughts on lower frequency overtones? Sort of like Tibetan throat singing, if I'm not mistaken, to Matthew. You're speaking of like ancient throat singing. Very interesting. So I experience social media in a similar way. Though you're explaining music. Then you're explaining music. I see love, I see hate, I see positivity, negativity. The emotion, connect, I feel, experience of human trials. Yeah, I hear you there, my guy. It's like, I think the genius is, I think it's more important to understand that you're only seeing a very slim, we could say, not distortion, but you're seeing a diluted. This is the kind of core context that I really want to introduce relating to the whole summary of what we're talking about on social media is you are in fact invariably only seeing a slim dilution of what all of these things that you're trying to say, that you may have some relevance or connection or empathy or connection to. Like, you go on social media, I'm telling you without a shadow of a doubt, you're not seeing the fuller context of a mass majority of what these things are. You're just not. And when you're experiencing music, there is often, we're not talking about like pop music or some weird mainstream, capitalist type music industry type music, which some of it can be, fruitful, but music is very raw. It's to the point. It is a raw human being's expression that has been translated through their emotional experience. There is very little domains, if not no domains, of social media that even fits in that category. Like, social media is a substitution of reality. It's a diluted version of reality. That's the context that is ever present. It's never meant to be a replacement of reality. It's never meant to be, never going to be. Music, in fact, is a different domain, though. Music is like a raw translation of our felt experience, our emotions, our narratives, that is immortalized into a thing. If it's good music, we could argue that there's many domains of music that don't fit that category. But if you're trying to like look at the comparison and be like, but I see the way I see music, or music can be perceived is the way I sort of see social media. You're right. Like, you're not wrong. Is we can see them all as tools to be like, you know what, you can gather perspective, you can gather different domains of the collective experience on something like social media. But this is the key thing I'm just trying to make very clear is you should never fully believe in these dilutions. Like, you should never see it as like, but this is synonymous with the real world. You should basically always realize that this will never truly emulate the deeper dimensions of what the actual human experience is trying to offer you. And I don't know, Genius, you're like my generation, maybe a bit older. I think you're a little bit older. But the reality is, most people, my generation and younger, and especially the younger generation, they're not able to make that key differentiation. They're going on social media, they're going through TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and they're falling into the falling into the trap that this is synonymous with the real world, with reality. But it's not. Social media, no matter what, you can look at all the different things, you can hear people's perspectives, you can tell yourself you know somebody through social media, you can tell yourself you had a conversation with XYZ person, this, that, the other. But in most cases, you're only experiencing a slim little fragment, a substitution, a dilution. It has nothing to do with the real world in many contexts, like really nothing. And if you can accept that, if you can embrace that and be like, okay, I'm embracing and experiencing social media, knowing that this doesn't actually hold a flame even remotely to the real world, and you're continuously doing that, then you can successfully use it. But most people are not doing that. And most of the younger generation don't even begin to do that. They don't even know what the real world looks like. So they have no reference point to be like, oh, but yes, this person interacted this way, or oh, but I saw this little slim dilution of what this was, but they haven't actually practiced the critical thinking ability to even draw a reference point to what the real world is actually experiencing in the greater context. It's all about context, I guess, is what I'm saying. So music, sure, it can be contextualized, but music is from a felt level that has already been, I would say, channeled from a raw emotional place. It's not meant to be taken face value. And social media is probably imprinting the illusion that it's meant to be taken at face value. There's a very core difference. So I think it's important, basically, no matter what, realize that the real world is the real world. Social media is social media. You know, if you don't live in a delusion where you think that, but okay, the real world, is somehow similar, if not synonymous, with social media, then you'll be okay. But most people don't make that connection. Like, they don't sit there and go like, oh, but I just connected and learned this on social media, or I figured this on social media. But then they'll just realize that it's a dilution, and then they go into the real world and then realize, what the actual experience is, and then contextualize it. Most people don't make that connection. That's what I'm trying to make very clear is, you can use social media, don't use social media, but most people don't realize how grossly disconnected social media is from the actual felt experience that's in the real world. Like, if you look at the vast array of what social media, what you'll gather from it, you could not tell me with any utmost dimension of confidence that the actual real world experience even has a resemblance. Like, it's almost like if you, it's a travesty actually. Like, if you were to tell me that you have a conversation, like, oh, you had a conversation with a bunch of friends or with an intimate partner that you're to be, or maybe you had a political argument or a philosophical argument on social media, and you're like, wow, that was really deep, it had a level of depth. You go doing that in the real world and you tell me that even had even remote resemblance. Because if you've done this, like in the real world, you've gone into the real world, you've looked into people's faces and eyes and had these conversations and seen the depth of how these unravel, they're not even remotely the same. Like, it's almost like you're looking at entirely different human beings, entirely different interactions, entirely different sociological dynamics. It's just, they're not the same. They're supposed to be separate entities. And I think this is what's so jarring and disheartening is, a lot of people, in the long story short, they just need to touch grass. They need to go in the real world and realize, the real world is the real world. Social media is social media. They're not the same. They never were meant to be the same. And very dangerous things occur when people don't make that very distinct connection. When they live out the delusion that, but I've learned all these things and made all these interactions onto social media realms, and never truly give themselves the fullest permission to experience in the real world, they're going to be living out distortions and delusions. Like, they're going to be operating out of broken narratives. They have no idea what the actuality, the real context of any of these things are, but they believe they do. And that's also very dangerous. Anyways, Japan is normal. Yeah. Japan seems, honestly, it's just Japanese, bro. Like, I have to say, I just love Japanese culture. Like, long story short, Japanese culture is really beautiful. It's not perfect. It's unique. It's a bit quirky, a bit strange to some, but there's a lot of elements of Japanese culture that, for whatever reason, like, maybe it's their stance on, public littering, or maybe it's their stance on, like, formalities relating to humans here. Maybe it's their stance on public transportation. They just, for whatever reason, as a society, are doing a lot of things right. And now, I've never been there. I've never lived as a Japanese person. I don't know the ins and outs of it. But just objectively looking at it from a spectator standpoint, I really appreciate what the Japanese are doing. And I think I'm very attracted to their culture. Charles Boswell. Them people suck, wiping all animals off the planet. Wow. That's a really weird statement, brother. What's good? What's good? What's good, Redbeard? Good point, tenacity. Japan has its own religion. The religion is the core of their values. Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head there, dog. I mean, their religion too, like a lot of Japanese religion, Taoism, Zen Buddhism, it's not necessarily a religion. Like that's maybe the crux of why I think Japanese culture is succeeding in the way they are to some degree. Japanese cultures like Zen, Buddhism, Taoism, they're not dogmatic. They're not shoving their religious ideologies down your throat. Like they're just not. If you look at any Zen Buddhist book and the way it's been basically adopted and the way that they unpackaged a lot of these beliefs, it's not a dogmatic religious ideology. And again, we don't like to try to fixate or, introduce too much religious ideology or political ideology related context on this channel or just talk about it too much because it's slippery slope. But I think you're correct, is their religious values, so to speak, I wouldn't even call it religion. It's almost like their spiritual values seem to have a deeper level of rich heritage, which is true. Like their heritage of their spiritual values is very developed. And I think that does reflect. Immune systems are a vague balance. They need the bad to learn it and against it. If you overboost it and start seeing good systems as enemies. Fair enough, yeah. That being said, I think in reality, it's like, yes, we need like bad pathogens. We need a level of harmony. But I think a lot of people though, like as correct as that is of like immune systems, they need like almost like a natural organic balance where you can't just fixate on one sort of like, I'd say, one sort of domain of it, like being like, oh, you just got to eat healthy only and just introduce healthy this, that, and the other. But a lot of people are just so grossly dysregulated and just unbalanced, imbalanced, that the argument to be like, yeah, but a lot of people probably could introduce like, just a blanket statement, arrangement of just like healthy protocols and practices. A lot of people are just so actively drowning in unhealthy, practices and just things that are just dysregulating their health to an extreme degree, that actually, as much as they need to have like some sort of antagonist to whatever the healthy practices are, most people are already like they're well on their way to overwhelming their system with all these antagonists of what the body needs to balance itself. Smoking weed is trying to self-level your dopamine levels. Right. I don't know, bro. Smoking weed is that's a deep parallel. I typically don't. I've talked about smoking ganja a handful of times, and I think, hey, I live in Vancouver, or I live in Coquitlam, but British Columbia, where ganja is legal. There's pretty much everything is legal, for the better and for the worse. But the idea is that there's more to it than just dopamine seeking behavior. Like if you're smoking weed, you're probably not just trying to correct your dopamine. I mean, ganja is primarily serotogenic. Surely it's like it operates and gives you a bit of both, but there's a lot there to unpackage. I would say, ganja can be used as medicine, but in many rights, humans abuse things. It's the sad reality. What is the right way to look at everything we were talking about with the hertz, numbers, and how they practically relate to the guitar? Well, basically, it's pretty simple. I mean, I'm just talking about tuning the guitar in relation to 432 hertz, which is this tuning right here. My nasal passageways are blocked, but yeah. But basically, this 440 hertz is the standard tuning, and 432 is basically when you tune your guitar from here. This is 440. 432 is about right there. Like there's 440, 432. Like this is like in relation to the standard tuner. If you tune your guitar where it's by hertz, 440 hertz is your standard, perfectly aligned tuning. That's 440. 432 is there, 444 is about there. And as it's understood, like in the simplest explanation, 440 is the frequency that apparently is malaligned with nature. And apparently there's a lot of worlds of thoughts explaining how 440 was introduced to actually malalign society as a whole. You know, they, for whatever reason in the music industry, they promoted that, 440 is the standard, industry standard. And apparently that was a ploy. That was like a conspiracy or an underlying ploy to malalign society at large. And 432 has been proven to be the one that's aligned with nature. And then 444 is the angel frequency. So it's the one aligned with, like, I guess, a higher vibration. Quintessentially, you can basically just, if you tune your guitar ever so slightly off, like for mine, it's like if you looked, my tuner, the little arrow is slightly off. It's right on the hinge where it is basically on the edge from E and D sharp. On the open E, on the first string, and that's 432 hertz. It's still technically in an E. It's in an open E string, or open E tuning. But it's slightly off kilter that way. The fun thing about it though is, say if you play a pan flute, and the pan flute actually has the unique quality, you can lean into different keys, and you can also lean into different hertz. So if I'm like 432 hertz, you can hear that. It's like, I can play the pan flute also in 432 hertz. And for whatever reason, like, these are things I couldn't explain on an in-depth level, but you can feel them. You can feel the difference in many rights. Like if you were to play music in 432 hertz, or you listen to some of your favorite music or musicians that play in 432, it does feel fundamentally very different. So that's kind of the simplest way to explain it, is like, it's aligned with nature, it's a different felt experience, but it's, yeah, fundamentally malaligned from a lot of music is tuned into. Smoking weed is nice, but can be dangerous. For sure, dog. Clouds and weakness, the ability to make life decisions. Clouds and weaken the ability. A lot of hot takes here. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. One second. Gotta like grasp. So yeah, when you're over describing something bad, delete the whole thing and it says in a sentence. Interesting. And this guy on the screen. Yeah, but no, if I'm being perfectly honest here, again, I want to re-communicate that I think you need to, it's really important to understand that there is a balance of, like, if you're hopping on a stream, right? It's like, if you're going to say an allotment of statements, like, again, maybe it's like you're really just trying to immediately communicate a bunch of thoughts. But I think when you're saying a simple statement, like you say, when I even look at the greater majority of what's you're packaging here, the Count of Saint Germain, is like, are you speaking like with a level of like comprehension? Again, you're right. Yeah, there's a bunch of comments. I'm juggling, multiple statements and different people. This is what I do all the time as a streamer. But I'm saying is, I think it's more important to have a level of comprehension of like why you're saying what you're saying. I mean, again, a lot you're saying, they're standalone statements. They're fine. It's a conversation, an interesting dialogue to be had. But I think when you're layering multiple comments that seem to be almost like you're speaking, but you're not fully understanding how it's being comprehended, or even, have a desire to have it comprehended. I've seen that before. Like, it's not a new quality. I have people on the stream come all the time where they'll just be stacking comments with little awareness of why they're saying half what they're saying. You know, maybe they're just speaking because that's the way they arrange thoughts. Maybe it's compulsive. Maybe they're just, you know, in the simplest right, giving you credit is you're just limited, obviously, to texting or typing in a text message on a screen. It is what it is. But I'm just saying, as I am managing often, you know, thousands of people flowing through on a regular basis, you come to see patterns that I think there's a level of self-awareness that's important to have. You know, if you want to say a statement that you really strongly stand behind, that you think is relevant, because you've comprehended the greater totality of what's going on here and you want to contribute to that, that's amazing. Like, that's, you know, you have free will and autonomy to do that. But if you're going to just almost just like throw out a bunch of thoughts, you know, just like gun out a bunch of thoughts that don't really have a lot of relevance, you haven't really fully intentionally comprehended why you're saying them, to me it just doesn't, it doesn't read as congruent. Like, this doesn't read as a person that actually genuinely desires to hold space for a conversation. I don't know, not to throw a negative spin on, like, it seems like you've been contributing to it, but I basically just see a level of incongruence in the way you're comprehending what I'm saying and how we're impacting this conversation. Like, I get it, it's a stream, you're typing in a text message, but I think I see this pattern occur every once in a while. Like, there'll be a person that, for whatever reason, he's just filling the comment section and he's just repeating a bunch of different things, separate statements. It is what it is. Like, you know, again, it's cool if people have a lot of things they want to share, but I think it's more important to understand, like, in the real world, like, if you were to sit down with a person, you know, eye contact, micro expressions, would you sit there and say like 5, 6 things that are complete separate statements, not even listening to why and how they're comprehending what you're saying? Like, it almost like that would come to say that you don't have a harmony or balance of how you're conversating with said person. Now, this is a stream, it's different. Obviously, this is not even remotely the same. But I would say it's just that there's a level of failed comprehension that I'm noticing here with, well, the Count of Saint Germain. I don't know. It is what it is. Like, I'm reading out these comments because this is what I like to do. It's like a part of the stream experience that I enjoy. And as I'm a smaller YouTuber and I'm a newer streamer, I have the leisure to do this. Where I'm like, you know what? I want to go and connect with my viewers, you know, really see the type of community that I'm establishing. In the future, I won't have that leisure. You know, I'm just going to be doing my stream thing, and maybe I'll read every comment here and there. But at this point, it's very valuable, I think, to, yeah, just kind of connect with my audience and kind of get a feel of what type of people I am building in this community. And obviously, this doesn't say everything about who you are. It's just a stream, but this cat has been spitting some good words. Hey, thanks, dog. Just the guitar. Nice. Thank you, Cat. Thank you for sharing your truth, brother. Thank you for making it clear that you are not the target audience that exists in this realm. Go find your brain rots, AI slop, jukebox, mute, whatever. That's cool, brother. So I have a kid saying that they are friends and I coach kids. Interesting. I'm just saying, yeah, it's not as bad if people make it sound. Good parenting comes into play as well. Point about music, which is an analogy. Yeah. Now, honestly, I liked the intent when you're saying, one sec, I'm going to guide my cat upstairs. Just kind of wants to go on her way. Yeah, no, I mean, I think, yeah, it's a genius. Like, I get you, brother. I know you, I like the way Like, I feel like you are an articulate guy, and I get the intention, just based on the interactions we've had so far. I get, like, even as you are making that analogy, it's an interesting analogy. Like, I don't think it's, as I kind of underline, it's not a bad analogy. It makes sense to some degree. I just found like it was an interesting world, or an interesting, uh, what's the word? An interesting place to open up a discussion about something I think's relevant. Like, when people understand the way the brain responds to something like music in relation to, say, the way it responds to social media. But I hear you though. So I have kids and they have friends I coach saying it's not as bad as people make it sound. Yeah. The point about music. So you're saying, yeah, the social media construct. Got to get read for sleep. Fair enough, Tenacity. Yeah, if it's night out there, brother. Yeah, honor your body, my guy. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, very much. It's funny, it's daytime here. I'm kind of still just like fresh off drinking some cacao. I'm definitely looking forward to doing a cold plunge and kind of sitting with my energy. But yeah. Why not China? Is it so special about Japan you like? No, China rocks as well, man. Yeah. It's like the bacteria we have in our body, the whole symbiotic relationship. Yeah. Yeah, no, to Cresso, definitely, bro. I honestly love Chinese people too. Honestly, I think the comment about connecting to, like, say, Korean culture versus Japanese culture versus Chinese culture, the culture as a whole I love and respect deeply on a very equal level. I just meant the infrastructure of the society seems to be very different. Naturally, it makes perfect sense. China's massive. It's a gigantic infrastructure. So I think I couldn't conclude saying that they're the same, or I have the same level of I'd say connection or resonance with the larger construct of China. I love Chinese culture, and honestly, every Chinese person I've ever met, honestly, all Asian people I just love. But yeah, the reality is I couldn't say confidently that I would, know the same ins and outs of how the Japanese infrastructure of society is versus the Chinese infrastructure. It just seems a little bit fundamentally different. But again, there's good reason for that. China is gigantic. So there's just so much to learn and figure out on. But of course, good, pros and cons, yeah. Feel like a chat is delayed, or you're seeing it later than people type. It could be delayed. Yeah. Let me just refresh this. No, it seems like it's pretty updated. I think what was occurring was there was one part of it that I felt really called to talk on, but then there was another part of it where I felt like, I mean, without to throw salt or cast blame, but I feel like there were certain elements of the chat that I felt like for the one homie that was here a moment ago, I felt like it was getting a little bit clouded, where it was like there was a lot of good points the homie was laying down, but it didn't really feel like there was a balanced flow where I can make sense of a lot of what he was saying. And I think I was trying to almost comprehend and address exactly what he was trying to lay down. Like, because that's the thing is, like, when I do these streams, it's not always the case. Sometimes I'm just chilling, playing guitar, going on a run in the forest or a walk in the forest and playing guitar. But sometimes I like to really just comprehensively break down, who's flowing through my chat, like what community is showing up, and hold space for them. And I felt like in some regard, when there's little ebbs and flows of the chat, there's certain people I'm trying to hold space. I'm like, okay, let's really get to the root of what they're trying to express and have a conversation about it. If it becomes a little bit convoluted, for lack of a better word, that's where I found like then I sometimes get very behind in the chat. And that's almost why I was trying to address to, the homie, the Count of St. Mark. It's like, or not Count of St. Mark, sorry. The Count St. Germain. It's like, he was laying down some good points, but I feel like there was a lot that he was just kind of basically spamming. He was spamming a lot of different points, not bad points, but it didn't feel comprehensive. It didn't feel like he was actually trying to successfully hold space for a conversation. I needed to address that. I was like, because I've seen this before. It's not to, box the Count of St. Germain into a box. Like, he's his own person. I don't want to, compartmentalize him. But there's been people in the past, they'll just like pop in the chat and they'll just be laying down a lot of, opinions. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not comprehensive. Like, it's not comprehensive to the flow of the chat. And I feel like part of me feels like I want to unpackage that, either just like let them know that, maybe they should go to another stream, or just try to make sense of, like, hey, like, let's have a conversation that, you're just saying a couple things and you're really speaking with intention. That's kind of the underlying context that I think I really want to convey, is like, you have free will, you have free autonomy, and I appreciate people coming here and desiring to contribute to this community portal. But if you are going to speak with intention. Don't fill 5, 6, 7, 8 different random topics just for the sake of speaking, not comprehending how it interacts with anything else. Because that, in my mind, again, I'm not trying to define or compartmentalize this person, or just judge them, but be like, that doesn't seem coherent to the way I want this chat to flow. I think compartmentalize, that was not the right word, but yeah, appreciate that though, genius. All love. Yeah, honestly, it's a good thought. I think in my mind, like, long story short, I can almost get fixated, for lack of a better word. I have a strong stance. I'll be perfectly honest. This is very intimate to me. How important it is to forge a healthy relationship with social media. Like, it's a bias, I'd say, to be super transparent. Is I have a bias that I think is well rooted in how people form relationships, myself of course included, with social media, with a phone, with etc., etc. So I think I have a strong opinion about it. An opinion that I think makes a lot of sense. That's why I love to talk about it a lot. But long story short, I think I could go in a million different directions about the same thing, about, yeah, the dopamine related to social media, related to phones, because I think it's a very deeply rooted issue. But, it is what it is. I love to hear different people's perspectives, like yours, genius, because I feel like no matter how I stand with it on it, it's my bias. It's good to breathe out these thoughts and be like, you know what, there's more to it. People have different perspectives, people that are in different generations, or dealing, with kids as you're dealing with, or you're coaching kids and dealing with people that surely have, like, a more comprehensive perspective on, like, what really is, like, the healthiest application of something like social media. If there's people external to myself, because I'm just one person that has a narrow window of how I like to see things. And again, I think I love to look at it as, like, being a student of the brain, like dopamine mechanics. I think a lot of these things are very universally tied. Like, even, like, this was a forethought that I think was relevant, is like, we as humans, we operate out of, like, as I see, like, patterns that often perpetuate each other. So it's almost like, if you're perpetuating a negative, or let's say dysfunctional pattern in something like social media, like, you scroll through your phone compulsively, and you just don't know why you're doing, and you're feeding your brain with unhealthy dopamine, you're probably going to perpetuate the same patterning in other functions. Like, you're probably going to go through, throughout your world, and if you're, you have a propensity to, maybe you're like a gambling addict, or maybe you're, I don't know, addicted to XYZ, whatever thing, you're basically going to fulfill these same patterns that you're reinforcing in something like social media. And because social media is so easily accessible, most of us don't see it even as a negative. That's where I think it's so dangerous. It's like, a lot of people can be like, oh, I'm addicted to my phone, I'm addicted to social media, but it's like, it's not problematic, because maybe they don't see, directly at least, how it's reinforcing consuming and absorbing unhealthy dopamine. And, like, I don't know, you're right, is like, there's a greater context to it that surely is beyond my perspective. But I don't know. Yeah, cheers, mushroom. As a guy that loves mushrooms with utmost sincerity, I appreciate that, dog. Yeah. Ego babbling, a lot of chatters do that. Very fair. Fair enough. Thank you, Kreza. Appreciate you being here, brother. I always appreciate your presence. Hope you rest up. And yeah, like, that's the thing, is I try in some regards, because also, I'm feeling very open-hearted. Like, life's been pretty dope, and I feel like I don't desire to throw salt at people immediately. Like, some days if I'm just like, I'm feeling the energy. I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck, and I'll just, I'll set those boundaries with a firm will, like an iron will, so to speak. And I think, to the homie, what's his name? Uh, Countess Saint Germain. I don't know. I think I've seen him on before, and he's just kind of like, he seems to have the same sort of energy where he doesn't really have a lot of coherence or intention behind what he says. I mean, maybe there's some intention, like not to throw salt at him, but I feel like I'm seeing the pattern where like there's a level of incongruence, and I felt like I needed to address that. And I think he exited the stream. That's beautiful because I don't need people that are not thinking with intention. But it's like, yeah, it is maybe ego. Maybe it's a little bit of, again, I'm trying to, in some regards, introduce a bit of awareness. Like if a person's like, if a person's coming on the stream and speaking from a place that's incongruent, maybe it's compulsive, maybe they don't even know why they're saying after they're saying, like even if it's like they believe it's well-founded, I would love to be a proponent to shed some awareness on that. Even if I'm going to exit them from my stream, revoke their common rights, before I ban them from the channel, I would still at least like them to, maybe recognize that what they're doing is maybe a bit disharmonious. So maybe when they go into another stream or they go into a moment of self-reflection, they can think to themselves like, maybe is there some truth in that? Because, I'm not sitting here and throwing salt at them and be like, oh, this person's a piece of shit. It's like, I'm kind of just being like, hey, maybe there's some way of the way you're carrying yourself, like again, for this example, this other individual, where you could introduce a little more intention in the words you say, or realize that if you're going to layer a bunch of, topics or dialogue or monologues that wants to be a dialogue, you realize that maybe that's not the way to carry about communicating what you're trying to communicate. But I don't know, it is what it is. I feel like what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to now equip myself for the sake of a bit of experiment. The last couple days I've been playing around with lav mics. Really just trying to increase the overall quality of sound. So we're going to return to that and see how this checks out. Because I love this. I love the way this really reads, where just doing a simple, well, here we go. Yeah, so we'll mic ourselves up and then mic up our guitar. It also just offers a more balanced sound, I feel. Getting to create a higher quality sound, it's great. Just little things, little details. Okay, so I'm going to take this, pop this on. I have another mic somewhere. Bro, they call me Billy the Kid, because I always miss. That was deep. Now I'm considering my trolling. Whoa. Damn, I don't even think I really went that deep, dog, but I'm glad that resonated. I don't know. I mean, if you're new to this channel, welcome, for those of you watching, but evidently I am here to create a channel basically revolving around teaching guitar, doing meditative sound journeys, and just holding space for all the things that sort of connect to creative expressions. Often it has to do with metaphysical philosophies, talking about, brain health, dopamine, etc. But long story short, I really desire to create an intentional community, and part of that is actually discerning successfully those that I feel don't align with the core values of this channel. So, not to hate to break it to you, but if people are here to troll, or they just don't have a very congruent way of, I don't know, carrying themselves, or they're not conscious of that, they're probably going to be asked to leave this channel. That's kind of the essence of what I really like to do here. It's a process sometimes to try to uphold that intention, but it is what it is. Wow, this is a long chord. Holy shit. Let's keep this for here. is my second mic? So I got microphone here. Ah, of course, it's in the case. That it is. Eddie Vedder. Interesting. Ah, that force. All right, I think we've stereo, 4th decibel. All right. Turn up a Predley, got some DI, decay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Whoa. We're just kind of messing around with the sound set up here for the next 30 seconds. Oh no, I'm muted. Yeah, I know, I need to set up my sound setup here. 1 second here. Shouldn't be muted. So there's microphone there, microphone there. Is it muted still? Is it muted still? It should be set. This one's hooked up here. Okay, you can hear me now, yeah. You're good, it was just for a few seconds. Yeah, I was setting up my sound setup here. Appreciate that though. All right. This is what I'm searching for. But yeah, anyways, nice to be back. I'm just trying to right now set up my sound setup so I can hear myself on my computer to know if my sound quality does sound exactly how I want it to. Oh. Hold up. Okay, that should be do it. Communicate that I think you need to. It's really. That was really, yeah. Fumbling on my words a little while back. Okay. Okay, sick. I'm just trying right now set up my sound setup so I can hear myself on my computer to know if my sound quality does sound. Let's see how this sounds, my guitar. So I can only hear my sound from this end. Like I can't actually hear what my guitar sounds like plugged in from my end. Let's hear. I'm assuming it sounds pretty good. So I can only hear my sound from this end. Like I can't actually hear what my guitar sounds like plugged in from my end. I'm assuming it sounds pretty good. Just doing some live sound checks. For some reason it doesn't sound that great. Yeah. Okay, so we're plugged in here. That's good. It should sound more dynamic though.
Doesn't sound right for some reason. Yeah. Plug my guitar in. It is plugged in, but it's plugged into a lav mic here. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to equip the setup to the lav mic. So it's on stereo. It's on 4 dB. What's happening here? Why is it not registering? We'll figure this out in a second here. Nah, it just sounds like nothing. It sounds like nothing. Put it in front of my amp. Well, I can plug it through my amp, but that's the thing, is I'm trying to make it so it should just sound perfect just as it is, because it's going right into my preamp. Yeah, this is weird. This is some fun, well, not so fun DIY sort of stuff. I should have probably figured this out before the stream, but it was working fine yesterday. Excuse me. Weird. So I'm on DIY, Dicka Decay, lots of Predley. Well, fuck it. I guess we'll just have to just do this external at this point. I'll this off the stream. We'll figure out how to do this sound setup again. The stairs up there. I'm part of the Esche movement. If I ever get booted, I'll assume it's the worst and hope for the best. That's fair, dog. That's fair. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Honestly, it's definitely because of people like yourself and like the people that stream through that feel like, yeah, really resonate with this mission, or just want to be a part of whatever's going on here. The music and type community stuff. It's funny because I feel like on a larger construct, like a massive part of what I want to do here on this channel is just create really immersive quality content. And I think, you know, part of my intention with even just being a streamer, or just popping on streams, we'll just do this externally. But yeah, part of why I've really just become a streamer is like, you know what, I'm gonna fuck with these streams and try to just do these live things, is for live feedback. It's for like the ability to not only create music and create high quality content in this live context, but you know, if I want to answer questions relating to music or metaphysics, it's like on the deepest level, you know, it's like I'm cool with modulating and regulating or like managing a YouTube and a stream space, but it's never really been my utmost intention. It's like I'm here more so to try to develop a YouTube community and just create a space where I can get live feedback to create the best quality content, and just, yeah, really just focus on how to grow as a YouTuber. And also part of that is pass on the torch, you know, ideally to other people that also desire to go on that quest. But I think, you know, moving forward, it's like I've never really been one that I feel like I'm like inherently desiring to be an influencer or a streamer. I love doing it because I have an intention infused within it. But I think as I move forward, as my channel grows, it's going to be something that I tentatively do, but I'm not here to just be like chronically connected to the stream space. But it is an interesting social experiment. Like, let's be real here. It's like, no matter how I do these streams, I learn so much, and there's something so beautiful about connecting immediately to the YouTube sphere. For the better and for the worse. Anyways. For now, we'll just do some amplified sound. makes so much more sense. My tuning was literally fucked. Setting up sound setups is pretty wild, yeah. You need to remind the chatters you're not a cover artist. Why, thank you. Yes, this is facts. This is facts. I appreciate the requests, but definitely do not. Can you play a C sharp minor 7th? I'm sure I could, brother. A major 7th after it. C sharp minor. Honestly, can't say I can identify. I'm right now in an alternate tuning right now in dropped. I'm in 432 hertz, but with a dropped B, so not in standard. Can't really navigate that. Oh, damn. Sounds will help. I would say. I don't know what to tell you, man. May not be the high time to just pop onto a YouTube stream, but I mean, it might be a good time to just be present. And yeah, sit with that emotion, Redbeard, but that sucks to hear, dog. This is using the Tone Ramp's natural Predley decay setup, and then I'm streaming that through also a Black Star Fly amp, which is something I'm doing a lot lately. Like when I did my beach meditative sound journey, and my recent sound journeys are released on my long form on my YouTube. It was all streamed through this Black Star Fly amp. I've actually been trying to find a way to, use this lav mic. You know, we're doing the last couple days to perfectly set up the same setup, but make it more consistent. So far, it's been a bit of a challenge, but yeah. This is the sound setup I'm really enjoying. Let's listen back on my YouTube on my computer to see how this audio sounds from your guys' end. Let's YouTube on my computer to see how this audio sounds from your guys' end. Yeah, pretty balanced. reverb am I using? I'm using well, it's a Tonewood amp actually, so it's a preamp. It's this baby, it's a Tonewood amp. That's like the first version of it, but it's primarily a Tonewood amp. It's using a plate setting. I had a video I released that basically broke down my exact reverb setting. And then I'm streaming that through this Blackstar. So just a mixture of natural preamp reverb and then a little bit of whatever the Blackstar adds, which is basically just an extra layer of gain. It might be just this is where I find the lav mic really shines, where I don't have it set up, but when I do have it set up, I can just direct these little vibrations right into the lav mic. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try again once quickly. I'm gonna stream the lav mic though through the amp. So sort of like if I set up the amp just like I have it set up, and then I take the lav mic. So I set the lav mic, my secondary mic. That's all set. On this mic, go right into the amplifier. So in stereo, 3 dBs, 150 hertz, yeah. That should work perfectly. Hey, thank you, Dave. Appreciate you, dog. Feels like the bell lives better with the guitar verb than the flute. Any shot to get the verb on the flute. The bell seems to have its own nice decay. Any shot to get the reverb on the flute. Yeah, actually, that's the key thing is once I successfully, so let me know how the sound is. Actually, we'll listen back on my computer here. If I get the lav mic down perfectly, assuming that you can hear me here. That's how I was sounding before. It's doing that, okay. Stereo 3 dB. Any shot to get the reverb on the flute. Testing. Actually, that's the key thing is once I successfully, so let me know how the sound is. Actually, we'll listen back on my computer here. If I get the lav mic down perfectly. So if I get the lav mic down perfectly, it should allow me to basically stream the flute through the guitar and create reverb for the flute. That's what I'm trying to do here, actually, in some part.
Testing.
Whoa, okay. So yeah, that's all set. So this is the idea, is if I... This might even be a little bit too much. Probably, actually. So make the lav mic down perfectly. Blah, 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 blah. Speaking of... Probably, actually. Blah, blah, blah. Whoa, the guitar is not working at all. Why is it doing that? Oh, but No. This is so weird. What am I doing wrong here? This is hooked up. This is set. That's all good. This is good. This is set up to here. It says it's feeding through. How do you get so good at those harmonics? Lots of practice. Lots of, like, 10 years of practice, brother. Lots. It also helps, you gotta have a good thumb pick. You gotta have, like, a solid thumb pick. Wow, this is so weird, dog. So my harmonics, so the guitar, it's feeding through. Whoa. Weird. What is happening here? Let's even do something, well, it's okay. Testing. Testing. Why is my mic not reading? Bro. Why is my mic not reading? Bro. What the fuck am I talking about? Set. So this mic's working fine, but this one's not even. This mic's working fine, but this one's not even. Man, this is weird. Testing. It says it's processing fine. Very disheartening. I don't know. We'll have to do this off the stream because it feels like I'm wasting. Very disheartening. I don't know. We'll have to do this off the stream because it feels like I'm wasting time, as I said to myself. Ah, that's weird. Let's see how just not plugging into the thing. Let's see how it just processes my volume. I mean, it sounds all right. It doesn't sound like what I'm trying to do. The echo is killing you. I'm trying to master it where it goes right through directly to the audio. I don't know why it's... Maybe it's the chord is kind of fucked. Maybe we can safely assume the chord is just not doing its job. It's really weird. I can try once for maybe to see if it's like the chord. I need a different chord to do it. Yeah. In stereo echo. It could be, yeah, I know we are in stereo. So that could be, that's partly maybe why it sounds kind of bizarre. I don't know. I'm not a sound engineer, clearly. I think there's a lot that I need to sort of like really hone to make this really sound best. Because I agree, I don't like the way that some of these parts, they're not really flowing properly. Like, it doesn't sound like I'm doing all the proper audio stuff. Oh, that's not what we're doing. Doing all the proper audio stuff. Nah, forget it's just, yeah. Channel setup right. Excuse me. Channel setup right. Excuse me. Man, yeah, coughing into a mic. That's not. I feel like I'm just doing noise pollution. That's the thing, is if I don't have an awareness of how to set up these microphones properly, I feel like it just sounds like garbage for my ears, which is what I don't want. Chord inputs, volume settings. Well, that's the thing is it's on the universal volume setting that's all set, like the 3 dB, or it's 3 on gain, and then as all the ones, it's on stereo, which is where I want it to be. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do this off stream and figure it out, some DIY, but it feels like I'm just wasting time. We'll figure it out, though. We'll figure it out after we're on the stream. The echo is killing. Yeah. How many channels on that part is the battery charged? It is charged. I mean, confirm. I've been charging these guys continuously. Like, they live in a charging dock. So there's zero reason why it should not be fully charged. I don't know. It's just some fun little DIY, or just, yeah, I'm going to have to figure it out. I'm going to do some troubleshooting after this. I just got this lav mic set up like 3 days ago, so surely there's some things to learn and figure out, but I think it's better safe to just, yeah. There's definitely not, brother. Don't mean to alarm me. Yeah, there's definitely nothing, there's nothing there, brother. I think you're confused. Confused. Very nice. Confused, that is definitely the word, dog. Something chords, shell, voicings, anything except harmonics. I think you gotta really listen closely, dog. I think you're really revealing your inability to really hear what's going on here if you think that this is nothing but harmonics, dog. So I'd say take a second, take a step, and just listen. But as it is, I'm purposely trying to actually do a dynamic that I'm trying to juggle percussive elements. Like, that's kind of the key part of it, is I'm trying to right now work on something experimental. Chords as you're identifying shell voicings. Very cool. All that stuff is pretty easy. That's pretty fundamental stuff. But I'm trying to do something here, yeah. It's cool, bro. Honestly, I think it's funny. I think it's funny as fuck. Clearly, I'm not sure if a buddy's ever picked up a guitar, to be perfectly honest. Like, he's saying some stuff about, some musical dimensions, but I don't think he has any awareness of actually how to play guitar or do anything related to music. So that's all. I don't know. That's all I'm reading from your comments. Head, bed, bedded, whatever the fuck your name is. Like, I don't think you actually play guitar, because if you did, I don't know if you'd be making the connections you're making, but one guitarist, maybe not to another, but a guitarist to whatever you are, headbed. Listen closer. I think I am going to exit though 432. Like, I'm enjoying this 432 hertz, but it's kind of like a very different take on what's going on here. in so long, it feels good, on a, yeah, I guess on a felt level, but 440, it's just so much more in my realm of what I've been exploring. I have lots of love, though. Lots of love for 432. It's a great sound. So it's fun to challenge yourself, that's what I must say. Try one chord just once. Bruv, that's a chord. I get what you're saying, For the rule of thumb is I'm here to challenge myself. Like, after when you perform guitar for hours and hours a day for multiple months, I don't go here quintessentially to just play, basics. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I like to kind of just play into some of the foundational parts, but I'm basically here in real time trying to, do improv. And often it's me challenging myself. I'm playing guitar on a level that's trying to challenge my playing. I'm not trying to just play like a simple chord progression. I'm really trying to layer in things. And I don't know, maybe sometimes it's a little bit too challenging, or maybe my sleep-deprived brain sometimes can't perfectly piece together the advanced dynamic I'm going for, and it is what it is. That's kind of part of being a guitarist, is you're purposely trying to push the boundaries. It sounds good. If it sounds good to me, if it's I have an idea in my head that I'm moving towards, that's good enough for me. Yeah. That being said, I get it in some regards. When I think chord play, I'm not very attracted to like basic chord progressions. Like if you're gonna just play a song and just be like, that was a nice progression. That's a cool key shift. But I don't typically find myself sit around doing like, that was kind of nice actually. Like that was like, that's as basic chord progression like I will get, where, I mean, yeah, I can dumb it down. Maybe if I'm playing with another player or two, of course I'm gonna want to match their level, but if I'm chilling here improvising, I'm gonna lean into the fun stuff. I don't know what's going on. I'm just playing. I don't even know what's happening, bro. Like improv-wise, which is great. Ever listen to Spanish Fly? I think someone's mentioned that. I'm not too familiar. Spanish Fly. I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking of an electronic song or something. Whoa, Andrew Hughes. Yeah. That being said, if people have any questions, Spanish Fly. I don't know why it sounds sort of familiar. Spanish Fly. Oh, Van Halen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what Spanish Fly is. Haven't listened to that song in a while, actually. But if people have any questions, like with that, like homie was like, you know, there's a couple guys asking, but like, yo, play some chords, play some chords. I'll play some chords if you want to learn about some chords. Like if you want me to break down chords and teach you about some chords, I would be happy to do that. That's like that gives me life. But as for playing style, I'm gonna play. You know, I'm gonna play at my level, not to like flex or whatever. But it's like where my mind wants to play is not gonna be like simple, basic stuff. Just it is what it is. Maybe I could, you know, like take a page from the simplistic open chord stylings. Like sure. Because who knows? You can always grow as a guitarist. Doesn't matter what level you're at or what level you consider you're at. You can always learn from the fundamentals. So yeah, it's like if people are saying like specifics like, yo, maybe apply some basic, I don't know, major chord shapes, or like they have a, you know, a way of incorporating some sort of creative question. Fuck yeah, but just being like, hey, bro, less this, more chords, that kind of speaks to me from a perspective of someone that doesn't really understand a whole lot about music. But I mean, hey. Wow, that actually sounds super chill. Hey, thank you, brother. You can't play a chord, can you? Also that reverb, yes. I know. I'm pretty sure you've been here before, tinfoil, so you're just trolling. You're definitely just trolling, but also just don't fill the comments with trolls, dog, or troll comments, or else I might be tempted to revoke your comment rights. I mean, I won't, but yeah, I'm always tempted when I see people just fill in the comment section. It's like an intuitive thing, and it's like, yeah, let's just remove that. But I know you've been here before, brother. Yeah, very cool. Hey, thank you, friend. I've been failing to kind of incorporate this lately, but. Very nice. I always enjoy your playing. As a viewer, it was cool to see you doing those chords. Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that, dog. I agree, where it's like, I feel very inspired by stepping outside of like my comfort zone, but sometimes it's like, when I think chords, I like to sort of like, it's weird, like even when I think of like fundamentally, like if someone would be like, oh, play some chords, there's chords, like it's like, oh yeah, that's a chord, which I can do cool stuff, I'm sure. There's like open chords. For me, I don't typically think about chords. I think of triads and dyads and like weird, that's usually how I form really good compositions, is like, arpeggios and weird triads that are like jazz chords that I don't even know what the name is half the time. But yeah, it's very weird. I've lost my mind. Empty, aimless, please help me do something about it. That sucks to hear, brother. That sucks to hear. Your playing style reminds me of the Mix, McGee, and Brian Eno. Wow. I appreciate that so much, Water. Or Watto Lengold. Yeah, but I appreciate you guys being present here for just chilling, doing some stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would say return to just expressing yourself. Return to just expressing yourself, Beast. Some exotic, weird chords. I mean, can you do bar chords? I'm trying to remember. I know you're like, intermediate level, Beast. But as I was kind of just mentioning a moment ago, I don't really know a whole lot about, like, there's basic chords. Like, if I were to talk about, like, if you know the caged bar chord system. You can do chords, but in my mind, what I usually teach relating to chords is, like, weird, like, something like this. That's one of my favorite chords. It's like, basically, it's like what? It's like an F major 7, but you move the shape just up the neck. So basically, one of my favorite chords that I do is I take my 3rd and my 4th finger here, and I place that on the 5th string and the 4th string, and then I place my 1st finger on the first 2 strings, or the first 3 strings. So it's basically like, almost like I'm doing like a jazz chord, but I'm reversing it. Word. What's like, if you can see, it's like this is a chord where I'm literally just placing my 3rd, my 4th finger on this 5th and 4th string, and then again, my 1st finger goes here on the first 3. It's again, it's like the shape of, I think, an F major 7 if you were to do it here. Which is also a great chord. Not mistaken. Hope I'm not completely botching the the honor of an F major 7. I think that's an F major 7. F major 7. Oh, F major 7, F major 7. F major 7. Or maybe I'm thinking E major 7. See, this is my, I'm not like a master of chord. E major 7? Am I thinking E major 7? Major 7, major 7. Yeah. But honestly, yeah, when I often try to arrange chords, like say I'm here, I like to just start with a major chord. Sorry, a minor chord. My brain, bro. I start with a minor chord. So say we're here, we're just like, you know what, we're gonna go to, there's like a D minor, where I'm just basically fretting myself here on this 5th fret, 5th string, and then I'm creating, you know, this A minor shape, but here, so it's D minor. In my mind, the way I like to look at it is, I like to more navigate like the key you're in. So if we're on a D minor chord, we can be in D minor. It's like, it's good to return to that reference of, say, our D minor chord. And what I like to do is then I'll maybe go to a D flat, or sorry, not a D flat, go to a C flat. So you can go from like a D minor to a C flat. So you're basically switching to an A shape. So if you're like knowing the bar chord, the caged bar chord system is like, I'm barring the entire 5th string, you know, on the 5th fret, and then I'm doing A minor shape, which is just these 3 doing this kind of triangle here. And often what I do, if you're just going to do the most basic chord transition, it's like, this is a D minor, and then I switch to C flat. And you can do that same transition where you just... The idea is you can move around where if you're like on a D minor, if I were improvising, at some point, there's like an energy shift, right? You're at D minor, and then I'll do something like... Basically what I love to do is I like to go to, as I do this kind of jazz chord here. So I go from like D minor to this simple, shift to a jazz chord that I use all the time. That really is just placing your first finger, say, on say the 10th fret on this 10th fret on the first 4 strings, and then you're just placing, say, your 3rd finger on the 12th on the 1st string, and you're just striking these 4 strings. So if that makes sense, that's like a transition. For example, I do that in a million different ways, but it's like if you're, say, doing a D minor, and then you're switching to, like, say, this. It's a beautiful sound. I'm assuming, what is this? It's like a C. I don't know what exactly that chord is called, but nice. Do I live in Texas? I do not live in Texas, yeah. I just gave my 12th grade exam. I don't know what to do for college and music. Interesting. I had a feeling just the way you were wording the question. I don't know, bro. I'd say just kind of like what my mind was going to. Is I think you should just root yourself in some self-love and let go of a lot of those things of like, what do you think you need to do or be at this point? Like, you're young as shit, right? You're like 18 or 19, you say. And like, I think at this point you need to give yourself some self-love and reflect that back to the world. Like, really, at this point when you're like 18, 19 years old, you need to continue to just nurture what it means to love yourself, which, to be really clear-cut, it's synonymous with expressing yourself. So if that is, like, this is kind of directly in alignment, if you just want to learn some dope chords and, you know, rock out and express yourself, that's great. But if you're feeling lost, like, you need to, I say in the deepest right, this is probably the most pivotal thing one can do in general, but at your phase of your existence, is like, you just gotta root yourself in self-love. Like, see what it looks like to love and nourish yourself. Really lean into what that looks like, and then reflect that outwards to other people in your life. You know, be it if it's like potential intimate partners or friends or community members. It's like I couldn't even express enough how much, like, I feel like in my life right now, I feel pretty abundant. Like I have some really dope people in my life. And I can say objectively, like my intimate partner, friends, community people, like I feel like a weird element of how I often exist. And obviously this is a YouTube channel, it's a YouTube sphere. You guys kind of only know a little blip of me. And I know I show up as I am, but it's like outside in the real world, I feel like often if I were to look objectively, like why are things going relatively well in my life? It's often because I myself am reflecting a deep level of self-love, and with that, that's attracting people that also value and love my presence and show up as so. And if there's any part of your reality, like man, I'm lost, I'm removed from purpose, I don't feel like a deep sense of value and abundance, which is okay. It's okay in this world. Is you probably need to return, especially when you're 18, 19, to things that allow you to root yourself in self-love. You got to figure out why, you yourself basically deserve to hold and nurture that love for yourself, and then have that reflected outwards in the community members or romantic partners that you attract. It's like, and I think the most immediate portal for me, at least, of how I often give myself self-love is through, well, through training, through guitar disciplines, through like really, really just rocking out and honoring the things that I love to do. And then that in turn makes me feel like I see deeper through the lens of that which is honoring self-love to myself, and then that reflects outwards. It's, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Giga Chad. Yo, what's good, Giga Chad? But it all really comes down to that. Like, how can you, like, in this moment, honor whatever it looks like, even in a vision in the future? Like, if you look at the vision of the future, are you building a sense of self and the path that you're on, one that is honoring the love for the self? Like, are you looking at like the vision of who you are in the future and seeing it as someone that you would like honor and look up to and love? Like, I think that's maybe something that's important to reflect on. Like, is the vision of who you see yourself as in the future, the man you're becoming, is this someone that you can look at and be like, wow, you know what, that's I'm really proud to be this person, or I'm really like stoked that's the person I've become. And if you don't feel that way, or you haven't even thought about that, maybe that's the sort of part of the path right now, is to give yourself permission to just make a vision of who you desire to become in the larger construct of who you're going to be in the next 5-10 years. And again, I think it's really important to realize that no matter who you become, it's important to root yourself in that dimension of loving thyself, like really understanding what that looks like, what that feels like, how that appears in your life. And there's no wrong way to do that. Like, if loving yourself is just rocking some exquisite, beautiful guitar chords and writing some sort of beautiful piece and then reflecting that out into the world, then wonderful. But yeah, it's a pivotal thing, I would say. That's awesome. Yeah. Do music and meditation at the third day. Very interesting. When I was 19, I had a 2-year-old. Wow. That's deep. That's deep, brother. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't think I even have the time of the day to tell William just how he's actually being received. I'll revoke William's comment rights. Thank you, William, for sharing your truth. May you practice self-awareness. May you actually exercise self-awareness and really connect with the genuine spiritual context, whatever it is. But hopping on a random YouTube channel and trying to demonize people and preach your religious beliefs, unfortunately, you're not doing a very good service to your religious ideology. I don't think that was the... that's not the move, brother. But thank you for sharing your truth. Enjoy, the permaban, the permaban underworld, or whatever we're gonna call it. The permaban, we'll call it the comment graveyard. That's what we usually call it. But welcome to the comment graveyard, William, if you're still here. And again, I would highly recommend don't, preach and demonize people in a one-dimensional ideology. That's just not the move, brother. Especially on channels that is related to music and guitar.
We don't advocate people preaching religious ideology or political ideology for that fact. But I can say confidently, like without investing too much time into you, you're doing a disservice to the thing you're trying to promote if you're just popping on and trying to demonize people. That's clearly not the spiritual path. But you're trying, brother. So good luck with that. 5 to 10 years passes fast. I mean, time is not really real. But I hear you. The human experience, the entire lifespan can pass fast, depending on your perspective. Like some people look at their entire lives like, whoa, 70, 90 years, like that went by so fast. For the better or the worse. Of course, time isn't real, and neither is the construct of age, I would say. Yeah. Very interesting. Wow. Never shared this with strangers. But when this topic came, I want to say some of my life experiences. I had a girlfriend in college that was 3 years of relationship. After college, she cheated. Okay. Now I started self-love. That's beautiful, brother. I mean, I have to say, yeah, that's a deeply woven parallel, my dog. I mean, I'm glad you saw that as a lesson to honor yourself, because ultimately, like, we could go in a deep rabbit hole about relationships, and I'm always open to. It's good to be a student of social dynamics and learn from your failures. From not even your failures, maybe it's just your experiences. But that speaks more to her nature, brother. Like that truly. The fact is, if she chose to, cheat, so to speak. I mean, for one, I'm actually not an advocate of serial monogamy. I'm an advocate of monogamy. I've had some beautiful monogamous relationships, but I think too many people, they fail to understand what it even means to be in a relationship by subscribing blindly to monogamy. But that's a whole nother story. That sucks that she cheated on you, brother. You don't deserve that. That says a whole lot more about her than you. And the fact that you dealt with it in a healthy way and learned from it, that says a whole lot about you, brother. And that's exceptional. In fact, you learn from that and you apply from that. I don't know. I've never been cheated on in my life, but I've gone on my own way to actually really sit and integrate any dimension of jealousy and really just learn to unpackage that. And part of how I did that was I spent about a year and a half practicing non-monogamy. And I must say, like, learning to understand and package ethical non-monogamy, not easy. Very, very difficult thing to do. I now practice monogamy primarily. I have an extraordinary, beautiful partner. I've had a few beautiful partners the last few years, truthfully, that have all been very healthy relationships. But I think it's important to be a student of social dynamics, and the art of dating is an extension of being a student of the social dynamics of that. Thank you for sharing, dog. I mean, yeah, and we're all human, dog. Like, it's better to try and fail. It's better to go through that process of, maybe experiencing love that maybe just fizzled out or just went in some sort of, you just loved and lost, so to speak. It's better to be in that place than to, be afraid of just fundamentally failing or entering those things that can make you feel vulnerable. It's good. It's good to just, like, learn these things. I don't know. Love is awesome. Like, we love here. It's beautiful. When you look at, like, the larger context of love, like actual healthy unconditional love, it is worth going through the process of learning. It's worth understanding what is not love. It's worth going through the process of putting yourself out there. It really is. I think it's a travesty to see people that shut themselves off, to shut off their hearts, shut off their emotions so in-depthly, where they never really realize what is actually on the other side, what healed love looks like, what it looks like to live a life that sees through the lens that is maybe apathetic or is, emotionally removed. When you see that And many rights, sure, there's exceptions. Some people go through lots of harrowing things, or maybe they just, renounce they renounce that thing and go live a celibate life in the mountains or forest. Who knows? But it's like, I think love is beautiful, and when you can really lean into being a student of love and the art of dating and life, you can truly see beautiful breakthroughs occur, and it all starts internally. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, not a single partner you will ever attract or experience will ever be anything but a reflection of where you are at within yourself. So that's where kind of like full circle, without attaching it to the dimension of intimate partners and this and that. I mean, it's just like, it's good to be a student of social dynamics, and it's good to realize how deeply rooted your relationship with yourself is. It's basically like, to honor and love yourself will ripple into everything you do, every decision you make, every choice you are, and it's beautiful just to see what nurtures that. Like, in the simplest right, it's like, if there's something you can do to move you towards understanding and really honoring yourself and loving yourself, then let that be the guide or the compass. Do I sing lullabies? I do not, no. I mean, maybe in my own free time, sure. Yeah. That's awesome, though, brother. Like, that's great to hear you on the path to self-love, Giga Chat. Social dynamics is good for everyone to study body language. Honestly, it's like, if you can be a student of social dynamics, like, you can be curious and open, like, you know what can I learn from this dynamic? You basically become indomitable. Like, you become really just, if you're open and curious to learn from social dynamics, a whole beautiful world opens up where you don't take things personally, and you learn to actually not only not take things personally, but see the beauty within all these little weird, strange quirks and things that humans do. I think there's a lot of, I would say, a lot of turmoil that translates out of not just being a student of just human dynamics, or just being curious of the beauty of social dynamics. It's just like, humans are strange, very interesting creatures, and to be like open to be like, you know what, I want to learn about why people do what they do in a non-judgmental way, that can change your reality very rapidly, where you're no longer in a place where you're taking things personally and your ego is bruised left, right, and center, where you're just like actually open you're actually open to learn and be curious about the people around you. And especially when we're talking about the opposite sex, it's like, yeah, it's no more interesting and incredible of a exploration, I would say. Man, my sinuses are still not 100%. This is just I miss breathing through my nose. I must be honest here. Yeah. You are right, brother, and I think we are all students. We should learn everything from nature and the truth. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, well, I have to say, like, if I'm being perfectly honest, in the past, like, if I'm talking like 5-10 years ago, there's been instances where, maybe some sort of spark or romantic flair will go in a direction that I just didn't desire it to, or some sort of, who knows, maybe some social dynamic where I left this dynamic feeling like very insecure and feeling disheartened, as a young man might feel. Every single time, I will always find, when I go home and just ask myself, like, how can I learn from this? It's not even from a place of like raw curiosity. Often it comes from like a bruised ego, from a place of maybe like, feeling like, I'm going to do everything in my power to learn from this. Like, it's just like almost like a fire that lights up in me. It's like, I'm going to actually just sit here and study my own mistakes. Be like, how can I look openly and curiously into what is unraveled here and explore? And almost like, if I philosophize a lot. I love to psychoanalyze and philosophize. I love being a student of many things. But there's few things that are more beautiful and expansive and intriguing than studying social dynamics. You're just like, whoa, this unraveled in such a way, or this occurred, and instead of taking it personally, instead of letting yourself,
hold it and take it personally and maybe bear resentment or bear some sort of lower negative energy. You can literally just be like, you know what? How can I improve my deeper, or how can I deepen my awareness in relation to these experiences? And there's few things more, I'd say, beautiful than doing so in relation to your fellow human being. You know, how exciting is it to be able to openly and fluently converse and connect and communicate with your fellow human being? Like, if you can walk up to random strangers in the middle of a beach, or, you know, in the middle of a social dynamic, and just like make friends and understand how to be curious and open about all the things going around you, it can be such a powerful, enlightening experience. This is what I found. I love humans. Like, I love learning and being around humans and talking to humans, and it's not always been that way. Like, you know, when I was in high school and before then, I was quite apprehensive. I was quite an anxious dude. You know, I often was just in my own energy. When I was a young kid, I was friends with everybody. But when I went through middle school, high school years, I often liked to spend time more or less alone. You know, I would make many friends, but I would often desire to be alone. I just didn't understand the art of really connecting and appreciating and, you know, just being curious of the beautiful domain of social dynamics. Now, for me, as a full-grown adult, you know, I go to raves all the time. I go to beaches and parties, and I go to festivals, and I do crazy stuff. I love meeting people in all these different incredible ways, and it makes me fall in love with humans more and more and more and more, especially the opposite sex. But it's like, how cool is it that you can just like really become enamored with just the process of learning about other humans? Like, it's just like, the more you can be curious and open, the more you can open your heart, and then the more you realize this is an expansive portal where ultimately we're social beings. Like, humans are social beings. We love to connect and socialize and, you know, connect as a human to human. And I think there's no more bizarre and damaging delusion than to try to like act like, you know, we need to split ourselves off from our fellow human being. You know, act like, but I can judge or shame or just, you know, define people that you've never even met. It's like, I don't know. That's a deeply woven parallel that goes in many different sort of philosophical directions. But 12-string acoustic or a 6-string, no special snowflakes. Rule number 1. That's a great rule. I'm not a special snowflake. You're not a special snowflake. Like, nah, motherfucker. Like, yeah, it's like, this is something that I really like to acknowledge, and I like to make this very clear. This is kind of like a coaching / trainer mentality that I like to like launch on people, but there isn't really a whole lot different from me and like pretty much anyone you could think of. Like, if you look at me, like, and I like to be really transparent about this, is like, there's not a whole lot that separates me. You know, I made decisions in my life where I decided to pursue music and athletic this and that, and, you know, I made a bunch of good decisions, let's say. But the reality is, like, there's no difference. I'm not more special, or I'm not like some, you know, crazy, like special chosen one that somehow became whatever the fuck I am. Like, I'm not putting, I shouldn't put myself ever, and don't desire to put myself on a pedestal. There really is not a whole lot that separates me from any given person. Like, really, like, any person could decide, you know what, I want to go down these rabbit holes. Now, I don't know, maybe there's special, unique qualities that I just happen to possess. Maybe it's like a level of, like, I don't know, like lightheartedness or seeing the beauty in certain things, or maybe it's perseverance. I don't know. There's qualities, sure, but I think basically anyone can do what I've done. Like, technically, like, anyone, if you pick up a guitar and do this for X amount of time, you pick up an athletic pursuit, like, you know, I'm just a mirror in many rights, where it's like, I'm not special in any right. I'm not like, again, like some sort of chosen one who's destined for whatever. It's like, literally, I'm just the product of a bunch of decisions that translate in such a way. Anyone and everybody has the potential to do anything that I've ever accomplished. And I think this is a really important thing to acknowledge. I mean, the one caveat also, I mean, this is a little bit of a different parallel, but I'm an identical twin. So, like, that's a sort of an immediate sobering parallel that literally shows me that is true. You know, I have an identical entity that I live with that is literally a reflection of me. We make different decisions, we have different life paths and different values in some regards, but in many rights, like, there's not a whole lot that separates me from any given other individual. Like, I've made some decisions that have translated well into my life, but
pretty much anybody can do the same thing I'm doing. Like, not even talking, YouTube, but in the capital, larger context. If you want to be a musician, you can do that. Like, it's not like I'm the chosen one or a special person. Definitely not. And even especially, like, in your social context, it's like, it is important to realize that every given person you interact with, you can learn from and take away value from. Like, it's almost so absurd to be like, oh, because I'm here or this in my part of my life, to treat your fellow human being like somehow you're above them or below them or who knows. Like, it's like everyone is inherently equal. It's like, I think I spoke of this literally the same thing yesterday. It's Osho's quote about like, people are unique. Like, no one's above, no one's superior, no one's inferior, but we're all not the same either. Like, we are all extremely unique. But of course, no one is inferior or superior. And I think when you're understanding social dynamics, that's extremely important. Like, if you can literally be like in a flurry of different humans, literally just stumble into any given random person and literally treat them pretty much the same. Like, be like, oh yeah, like this person, stranger of completely different social dynamic, and be like, oh, well, this person's still dope. That is like a very healthy mentality, even a skill, that if you can just embrace a stranger, even if they're not your regular, I don't know, social dynamic party or whatever you want to call it, everyone can teach something profound from everyone else. And it's like, once you see that and you connect with that, it's like a superpower. But I don't know, you just learn that if you just go to dance. Long story short, if you just go to raves, go to raves, go to dance floors, go to festivals, and you'll learn this very quickly. You'll be like, oh, word, we're all pretty different and we're all pretty dope. And like, that's kind of part of, like, without segueing into a random sort of parallel, is like, if you go to raves, like a lot, like you go to raves, dance events, and you go to like, party settings that are not toxic and whatever, you'll realize that like raves and dance floors and festivals, they're basically like these giant collectives of all these different human beings that are just coming together from all these different backgrounds and learning to embrace each other. Sometimes people do it under the vise of an intoxicant because maybe that's what lets them suppress their ego. I go sober because I've been going to raves since I was like 14 years old, or 15 actually. But the idea is that, yeah, it's good to see that there are like social constructs that let you know that, oh, we're not all so separate. It's really healthy to expose yourself to that. Anyways, many people find it difficult to interact with others. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, Wayne. I mean, that's what I was starting this stream off with, was literally being like, social media. Like, what a crazy diluted, psychologically and dopaminergically fragmenting experience. Like, how bizarre. Social media has a tool, is a tool, it has an application. It's great. Like, if you know how to differentiate the real world from social media, it can do great things. Like, you can find really cool events, you can even meet cool people, but most people, they're being programmed and manipulated by social media. Why? Because they don't know the difference of how deep and profound the real world actually is. Like, they haven't gone into the real world and seen the immediate difference between how real human beings show up and how they interact and all the micro expressions and all the things you learn from just experiencing human beings in the real world. Very, very, very different from social media. And sadly, most people, especially in 2026, they haven't even really experienced the human world in its fullness, in the realness of it. And then they make this weird, delusional distinction where they think that it's the same thing. Like, they don't see that, oh, this is very, very different, like this. But yeah, I don't know, I agree with that. It sucks. Social media, it's, again, like, I feel like I'm a record on repeat half the time when I talk about social media, because I really return to a lot of the same core truths, but I cannot advocate enough against social media. And it's a kind of weird paradox, because I'm on YouTube, being a streamer, building a YouTube community, and I'm like advocating I'm advocating against like crazy things like social media. But that's kind of the point. It's like, I'm here to try to desire to poke holes in sort of some of these paradigms.
closest mirror. Yeah, very fair. Oh, wow. Thank you, dog. Thank you for the contribution. Wow. Legendary. Social media has created the perfect environment for introverts. Yeah. You possess those traits because you train them, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. Yeah. I mean, if I think about it in a super clear cut way, again, like, I think it's important to, really convey that really I'm not like special, I'm not like some chosen one anyway. But of course, as Osha, it's like we're all different. Like, I am a twin. Being a twin, like in the simplest right, has forced me out of necessity to face certain things, to face certain projections. And surely, yeah, part of that journey of being a twin or being whoever I am is, yeah, I went on this quest to figure out what it means to become socially affluent. And part of that, I'll be perfectly honest, the weird part about it is part of how I connect with people, which kind of makes sense if you understand anything about social dynamics. I connect with people through dance. Like, a majority of how I meet and connect people is through my body expressions. I'll be doing handstands and like playing guitar and dancing and like connecting through dance. That's usually how I meet and connect with people. And I'm also good with words. Like, I've learned to be good with words, but that's not usually how I connect with people, through my words. Words will appear, words will maybe expand off of my whole energy, but it's funny how the mass majority of how I interact has nothing to do with my words. So it's almost funny when a lot of you guys are experiencing me, with guitar and my YouTube intention and my words, but that's not usually how people experience me. Like, most people, strangers, like especially women, of course, I'll like interact through dance. Like, they'll see and read my body language. They'll read into the way I carry myself and my energy, and that's how I'm interacting with most people. Like, this is like a very unique entity, the YouTube sphere, where I'm blabbering, I'm playing guitar, but that's like not the usual way of how people interact with me. It's usually like on a dance floor, maybe on a beach when I'm playing guitar, or it's like it's a very, but of course I love words, and I think as a YouTuber, it works very well. But I think, strangely enough, I think almost maybe this is part of an invitation to, as I go in waves where sometimes I purposely try to take a step back from the verbal domain and, experiment with doing other stuff. Learning and confidence makes you a special person. Everyone has that ability, but everyone can't understand. When you manifest something from your mind, it's not just teach. Yeah, that's the thing, Giga Chat. You're right there, brother. Is communication. Because I make this really, really clear in many rights. Is part of how I became a YouTuber is I spent many years developing the art of communication. Like, it was almost like a direct parallel. The moment I was like, you know what, I want to be a YouTuber, I actually then went on this long quest of like several years of honing the ability to communicate. And yes, it's not just, communication isn't just about me communicating to other people. It's about me communicating to myself, communicating to the cosmos at large. It's unpackaging my subconscious. It's relating in a larger construct of how to communicate on a larger context. So you're right in some regard. Is the thing that may stand out, and I know this stands out because this, my intimate partner, she reflects this to me, my previous partners, friends, people, that I do in fact have an ability to communicate effectively. That's a thing that I've surely strengthened it, but even if I were like, looking at something that is a strength of mine, it's not even just me. Like, everyone has the ability to sharpen their ability to communicate, but once you become a good communicator, changes your life, because it's not just about you saying words per se. It's about how you interact with yourself and the universe at large, which is how you manifest. Yeah. Understanding comes from confusion. Understanding comes from confusion. Confusion is your brain writing the program. That's an interesting statement, dog. Jesus saves him. No, not today, Jesus. No salt to the homie preaching religious ideology, but that's just like a guy. I don't know. That's just he's here clearly for one thing. That's cool, brother. But no, we're not promoting religious ideology or political ideology. Good and bad are just words. It's what you do that really counts. yeah, yeah, these are things I would think about a lot, like what we're kind of unpackaging, like things related to social dynamics, as we even extend to like moral and ethical philosophies, but also like, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot I could sort of unpackage there, but I think I want to say thank you so much, Floyd. Like, deeply appreciate the support. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I have to return the favor at some point, brother. I don't know when, but I'm definitely gonna have to send you some goodwill and support your channel back, brother. I ended up taking a short YouTube break. That's awesome, dog. Well, welcome back. I mean, I found myself sick actually the last 6 days. I wasn't able to see my intimate partner. I saw her yesterday, fortunately, but it's like, and I've been like grinding YouTube, sick, but like not able to do strength training. Still doing cold plunges. Kind of feeling like this week was challenging me a lot, to say the least. But strangely enough, I actually was completely okay. In all truth, I had such a strong uh, state of mind. I was like, oh yeah, I got so much awesome stuff going in my life. I have love in my life. I have things. I felt so optimistic, even though I was like, wow, I feel kind of like garbage. Can't strike train. Can't see my partner. Can't do this and that. But I was eternally optimistic. Like this last 6, 7 days, where I was letting my body heal, where I was just fighting this bug or cold or whatever was going on. I somehow was still doing live streams because live streams don't take a whole lot of energy for me. Where it's like, even if I'm sick, I mean, if I'm like dying from the flu, I obviously won't hop on a live stream and listen to my body. But I've been doing it consistently, growing my channel as much as I can and making little strides about what my vision is with my YouTube. But yeah, I'm glad not to be sick. But thank you so much, Hunter. Appreciate that, dog. And I'm hoping you're finding yourself as you are. Like when you take breaks, it's great. Like it's good to honor what you need for the larger vision, where it's like whether you need to just take a moment to just take a breather and recalibrate and refocus your vision on YouTube. I've needed to do that continuously these last couple of weeks. Like, I hit a metric. I was like, all right, sick. I hit the YouTube partner program and I've been hitting some goals. I'm about 4 days off from getting ad revenue, which is great. Like in my YouTube, I've already hit 4K. From what I know, I've already hit 4K watch hours. I just need to let YouTube update that. But now I'm at a phase where I'm now giving myself full permission to take a step back. Not try to grind out YouTube streams as I've been doing the last like 6, 7 months. And it's a transition. Are you leeching off? Nice. Nah, why the heck? Bro, wow. That's wild, dog. Yeah. I end up taking the short. I don't even know how to dignify that, Mr. Impresso. I'm definitely not leeching off of anybody in any regard. I don't know why. I don't know who would even do that. Yeah. Food for thought, though. I think we've revealed. We'll give you. There's 30 minutes for you, Mr. Impresso. All I can say is that sucks. That sucks, Mr. Impresso. That you've painted that worldview. Like that blows, brother. That you actually, by default, just assume that people that are devoted, disciplined, whoever they are, like you're just defaulting to this worldview where you think that people are leeching off of each other. Like that's what you really are thinking. That's what you're revealing. You're seeing is that's the worldview you see. You're saying that you see people that are, incongruent and I guess, just disintegral and don't know how to apply themselves. That you think that's behind every little. Oh, disconnected, reconnect. But that's bizarre though, Mr. Impresso, to see that like that's what you genuinely believe. It's just like lurking around the corner is some dude that's like leeching off of another human being. Like that's not how the world works, brother. Like that's you can't just. I mean, geez, I don't know. I don't even know how to. Yeah, that's. All I can say is my condolences to your worldview, Mr. Impresso. I hope you figure that out, brother. Like that sucks. There's the something for it. Etalotopus. Nice. So now it's time to go. Fair enough, dog. Wow. Fair enough. I think I'll probably put a close to the stream at some point because I gotta go for a cold plunge, do a run, organize my day, maybe drink some cacao, do some human in world stuff. But yeah, it was fun popping in. It's been an interesting, honestly, it's only been an hour and a half, but sometimes these streams, they really fly by. Sometimes so much unravels in this short period. So I gotta say, I'm really grateful for everyone showing up and continuously just being present here in this short period. I mean, I'll probably do a stream again later towards the end of the day, but we'll see. There's a lot kind of unraveling today. And I just want to be present with that. Yeah. Very nice. I'm curious though. I have no idea. I know YouTube for a period, they were kind of like detracting some of my views. I notice this happens literally every time, without fail. Every time I'm right around the corner from hitting a major benchmark in YouTube. Like say if, right before I hit 1,000 subscribers or right as I'm about to hit full monetization, YouTube, the algorithm, at least the live stream algorithm, it like slowly curbs. It detracts. So I don't know if that's just a random coincidence, but pretty crazy. But I think it's slowly picking back up. Like considering we've been here for about an hour and a half, seems like we're getting some pretty decent engagement. So. Wicked. Heard online gambling is going crazy in the U.S. Whoa. Sometimes you gotta be in the 3D. Yeah, that's the reality. I mean, I think we as 3D beings, we almost always gotta be in the 3D. But yeah, it's good to embrace, I guess. Embrace our 3D-ness as much as we can. That's crazy. I don't know what to tell you about that, man. U.S. gambling, online gambling is going nuts. That doesn't surprise me. I've never really been one for gambling, but I don't know. My heart goes out to those that are struggling with gambling addiction. Hopefully it seems to be a really severe thing. Like if you are someone that is suffering from gambling addiction and you really it can really destroy you. I actually have a good friend of mine, literally the one friend I know, really brilliant guy, really hardworking guy who is a gambling addict, and not even he just randomly has bursts where he just I don't for privacy and respect to him, I don't want to really disclose the entirety of his situation, but yeah, I have a friend who surely has struggled with that, and it's like an alien foreign entity to me to even imagine being in that circumstance. We all have our vices, but to see a person that's their life is literally being destroyed from gambling, it's harrowing, where it's such a powerful grip that seems to be a very massive problem. But I fortunately never in my life ever been a gambling addict. I think what we're going to do is we're going to burn some ritual incense, do a bit of meditation outdoors, play some pan flute. As we close, have you ever activated your thymus with a C17? Not consciously, dog. Nah. Not consciously. Wow. I'm still here, but now I have to sleep. Thank you, brother. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. Let yourself rest, my guy. Your boss will be here. Yeah, those are the breaks. Definitely feel no pressure. Let yourself rest. Hope your endeavors, your content pursuits continue to, stay inspired, I would say. Yeah. I'm gonna quickly search that up before I continue this thought stream. C17 chest type. CV17. Huh. Guide to the C17 middle of the chest. Oh. Oh, okay. I do find myself tentatively, I like to introduce awareness. That's actually where I place my tuning fork, strangely enough, is the C17, the CV17. It's like, that's exactly, often, that's where I place it, right there. So just above, yeah, I guess also it's CV17 is right above that bone. So right there. Interesting. So it's the anxiety reducing pressure point. Feeling anxious in your chest, acupressure point functions the chest center. Point is located in the middle of the chest, midway between both nipples. It's used to open up the chest, loosen congestion. You know what? That might be the move. That might be a wise choice. Man. Fortunately, actually, I was at Wreck Beach the other day, and I picked up a bunch of ritual incense. A bunch of these Lumbini. They're called Lumbini. There's a bunch of them. Like, I also have a few other meditative incense, but they're basically ritual incense from Nepal. Extremely potent. They have a beautiful, beautiful scent. I'm surprised we haven't gone out to the forest sooner. I didn't realize I was so busy just kind of doing human stuff indoors. I was like, it's a beautiful day. Holy shit. Just the first world problems. First world problems here. Being a YouTuber. What do I do for a living? Brah. Well, I work in film, actually. Well, I did before I devoted myself to being a full-time YouTuber. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, basically, long story short, I do backward acting. I do, sometimes little bits of regular acting, stunts. That's what I've done for the last, 2-3 years. I work in, commercials. I do commercial acting. That's just what I love to do, because it's, a fun, really exciting form of work. But, yeah, the last 9 months, I devoted myself to becoming a guitar YouTuber. And I've succeeded. Well, I'm, 3 days or 4 days off from being fully monetized. So, the last 9 months, I basically decided I want to be a traveling YouTuber. Yeah. So my full-time job is actually on route to being a YouTuber. Of course, I have a long way to go. Naturally, my vision is I basically want to make, at least 5 figures per month. That's the year plan. Within about a year and a half, I intend to do all the full-time YouTuber stuff, travel to Japan, Australia, Thailand, probably Thailand first. But, yeah. Pretty dedicated to being a YouTuber. It's great. It's actually funny. Right now, I'm on the other end of a 7-month, 7-month YouTube stream grind. Well, basically, I discovered, I started streaming for the first time in my life about 7 months ago. And since then, I've been successfully growing my brand. And yeah, now I'm at this point where I'm hitting the benchmark. I'm about 3 days off from being fully monetized, ad revenue and whatever. So at this point, I'm now giving myself permission to take a step away, take a step back. I don't have to grind out streams and now refocus my vision. So what's my next chapter being a YouTuber going to look like? And I already have a strong idea, but yeah. It's been a very intense but very beautiful stream of 7 months. What do I do? Believe hinder was that. Hey Ryan, do you ever activate your thymus? So then look it up, Qigong, chest tap. I love Qigong, so I absolutely, that's an extremely good idea. I'll check into that, brother. Thank you for sharing, Dave. Thymus is the training academy to the immune system. Wow. Yeah, I think doing a cold plunge will be very good, truthfully. So what do I believe hinders most people in their lives, in all aspects, and not just financially? I mean, I often like to articulate that a lot of people don't really seem to know themselves. Like, that's probably the core essence of a lot of dysfunction, a lot of, I would say, malalignment, a lot of inability to honor themselves, to love themselves and reflect those that love and honor themselves, is they just haven't gone on that quest to truly know themselves, like unravel who they are, what it is in this world that they really love and align with and authentically connect with. So I'd say to not go on that quest to honor your authentic expression of self hinders your progress, your growth, and your process in many different ways, more than you could ever imagine. But I mean, if I'm being more clear cut, like, what do I believe hinders most people? I'd say a lot of it has to do with just their inability to communicate. That's a huge part of it, is their inability to communicate, and maybe their inability to connect with the joy of things. Like, these may all sound like, you know, very esoteric or poetic or philosophical things, because they should. But yeah, it's like, I think what hinders a lot of people is, yeah, their inability to communicate, to exercise and honor their voice, to activate their ability to communicate, to express their authentic truth, be it within themselves, their words. And again, I think all of this, if I were to like almost look back to, you know, often what I found myself desire to connect with as a young kid, you know, who was like always trying to unpackage things related to music and XYZ, because music, for me, becoming a musician was the foundation of how I learned a lot of different things in my life. But basically, yeah, you got to follow the joy in life. Like, you got to let yourself discard that which is trying to align with you that is not aligned with joy. You know, if you want to learn a guitar, give yourself permission to let go of all that is not aligned with the genuine, ecstatic, joyful aspects of that expression. And again, within that, that connects a lot with letting yourself, like, if you want to be a musician, let yourself be the most expressive, unapologetic musician that you can possibly be. Don't let any avenue, any dimension of the music industry, any delusion or picture in your head that society tries to tell you what you should or should not be. Ignore that completely. Just let yourself know that whatever gives you joy, whatever honors your authentic expression of self, that is the way, and let yourself unapologetically chase that. Because when you do that, it lets you see the world in a very unique way. And a lot of your ability to see the world with clarity and see yourself with clarity is seen, yeah, with a clear lens. I don't know. It's a very deeply woven thing, but yeah. Simple stuff, though. Tap smartly 7 times while engaging in the perineum. Yes. The sun is out. I have to say, I just realized this. I was like, looking around, I was like, oh, damn, it's a beautiful sunny day. Like, I've been sitting inside the last hour and 48 minutes doing a live stream, but I haven't even gone outside. Excuse me, I haven't even gone outside. But that's what I'm going to do, is once I pop out this live stream, I'm definitely going to go for a run, meditate in the forest, do some cold plunges, eat some food, drink some cacao, all the things that I have not been doing. Yeah. It may be very hippie of me, but I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you're serious or not serious. Once I gotta drink water.
Fair enough. I appreciate you being here, dog. And I hope some clarity flows through with you, Floyd. And again, I feel like I need to return the favor of you just contributing. I mean, yeah. But definitely, I hope things build momentum for you, dog. Be well. Ryan, do you ever want to chat about the theories of origins of existence? I feel you might want to be interested in a riff on that. Got some cool conceptual takes. Interesting. The theory of origins of existence. Yeah? I mean, I feel like with the right mentality, there's very little things that I cannot conceptualize or like riff about. But I mean, I think like as it goes, like for like a more further comprehensive conversation between you and I, as we desire to, I'd say, yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to hear your take, brother. I'm interested in hearing your take on that. Like, what do you feel? Yeah, what are some of your thoughts, my guy? Some cool conceptual takes. Because when I think of the theory of existence, right? I mean, we could talk about, if we're talking about what happened before the conception of the Earth, like how the Earth was concepted, maybe like talking about like the quantum theory and sort of what things. Honestly, I'm not very astrologically educated. Like in all honesty, I love to riff about those things. Like I love to riff about things related to like astrophysicists or astrophysics, and like yeah, that's just the theory of like how the universe came to be. Not something I could say without a shadow of a doubt. I sit on a large foundation of factual knowledge about. Like I just don't. It's not like something I go on my own take. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts and like in the greater construct of a conversation. Like if we want to hold space and do like a large talk about. I'm not sure if that's something I hold a massive realm about, but hippie or self-aware. Yeah, and honestly, no, that thought, yeah, being concerned with others think of you as the thief of happiness. Yeah, for sure. All I can say to Rain is, yeah, even just like in that context, not only is there nothing wrong with being a hippie, like if you're trying to define what a hippie is, I think some of the most beautiful human beings, if they're just authentically being with that expression, like they are just hippies for what they are. I personally, I'm so far from the stereotype of hippie, like it's not even like it's baffling. Like I take qualities from being someone that you could define as someone that's a hippie. Like I don't know, I don't even know what the stereotype of a hippie would be, to be perfectly honest. Like what, they like smoke weed, they promote love, and they do psychedelics. Like that's a pretty damn good stereotype of that's what a hippie is. But I'm also so many different dimensions of a person. Like truthfully, maybe if I was like 14 years old, you could be like, oh whoa, this guy's such a hippie, and I'd be like, yeah, that's true. But it's like, I don't know, bro. I'm definitely a guitarist. I consider myself an athlete. I'm an acrobat. I'm a philosopher of sorts. That I could agree with. I'm a devoted musician. I'm a creator. I'm a dancer, like a tutter. I consider myself many things, but a hippie is not something I consider myself, truthfully. It's like, I definitely split open wide this stereotype. If I have qualities of a hippie thing, they're definitely positive qualities that I honor. Like if people promote love, and I honestly, I fuck with, healing medicines like LSD and plant medicines and psychedelics. Like I love those things to a deep level of my soul. But I think, yeah, for anyone to only see a negative connotation of hippie, that's pretty bizarre. Like to me, it's like, I think you gotta touch grass and go look into the greater essence of what the real world is, and realize that you're not whatever identity you are, or what you think a person is. Not saying, I don't even know if Rain was being serious, probably not, but just food for thought. I just know, like, no matter how I see it, is like, I've had people call me hippie like a handful of times, not on even on a stream, and I take it as a compliment. But I also kind of look at it like, if you really got to know the greater construct of who I am, I'm like a walking, talking contradiction of anomalies. Like I have a bunch of different things that I do that are nothing like. Like I've trained martial arts for many years. I'm a devoted athlete, guitarist, dancer, acrobat, fire artist, this, that, the other, without flexing. Like I have a lot of different faucets and
very multifaceted. And yeah. Food for thought. Food for thought. Yeah. I have a non-polarizing take on that because I carefully remind the listener I don't have any idea really, but the possibilities. Nice. Yeah. Simulation theory. Is time real and is time eternal? Right. Oh, these are good. Those are good. I would say those are very strong argumentative points. Argument points of reference or argument points. I don't know. Yeah. Cause yeah, I have to say, brother, that's valid. What are your views on monad? Monad. Mm-hmm. Cause that's kind of similar to what I was assuming you were talking about. It's like definitely like on a metaphysical basis. I absolutely can weigh in. Like I can weigh in understanding my own philosophical stance on time, on simulation theory, etc. Though from like an astrophysics standpoint, that's something that I know I can riff about, I can conceptualize openly, but I can't say with absolute certainty, say like the awareness of time, like what is time? I can talk about these things and I love talking about them. I can't say I can come to like extraordinarily lucid conclusions about them or things that people would be like, I mean, maybe I can, but with that being said, yeah, honestly, simulation theory, I think that's something that I would love to talk about because even just understanding, basic metaphysics or more intermediate level metaphysics, it's a thing I think about all the time. Like, very much. In the modern 2026, we're in a very exciting time where, people like Joe Dispenza and other thinkers have bridged worlds between modern neuroscience and metaphysics. And they've proven that not only are we in a simulation, it's maybe not the simulation that you'd see like in The Matrix, like the movie The Matrix, but yes, we're in a simulation, and why we are and how the simulation operates is very intriguing. And it speaks to like the greater construct of a lot of things, but I gotta say, I like that. I'd love to go deeper in that sometime. The monad needs to be more meat on the bones to actually rise to the level of my belief or level of belief. Fair enough. That's awesome, brother. We do deep trance, quantum leap. You learned you are the monad. Wow. Wow. Yes. Wow. That's phenomenal, brother. Again, I must say, like if I'm being super transparent, I have a handful of people, like quite a, like several beyond, often approach me with the idea of wanting to just like, do some discussions and talks, like a collaborative stream of sorts. I'm super open on a larger basis, but I feel like it's rare to find people that actually really like, resonate on a deeper level. Like I feel like I would be very intrigued to continue to explore that, brother. Like I think I'd love to do a deep dive with that. Personally today, I think I'm a little bit, like in all honesty, it may present that way. I'm a little bit less equipped than usual because, I've been sick all week. Literally today was the first day in the last 7 days that I've actually not been like, sinuses clogged, like really just unable to really show up as the, best health or optimal health version of myself. Man, my brain is just fucked right now. But overall I feel great. But it's like I must say I'm less equipped, more than usual, to deep dive specific philosophical debates. But again, for good reason. Last 7 days I've been sick. Finally feeling not sick. I was spent yesterday with my partner. Yesterday I was out pretty late. But overall, I am mostly like I love where your mind's at. I love where your mind's at, genius, and I would be happy to really go deep with you with that, brother. Like I think it's a thing that's there's a very interesting direction that we can package as a relation to time. What is time like?
I'd be happy to hold space for that. I think I have some interesting thoughts historically about that. I'd have to really think about, like, you know, how the stance I want to take. I mean, historically, when I talk about it, like, when we really think about it, like, we're really, like, getting deep into, like, what the quantum theory tells us. You know, if we look at the nature of the universe, we can really come to some interesting conclusions. But, yeah, I don't know, that's something I'd be open to unpackage at another time. Head colds are a terrible thing. My wife says I'm a drama queen. It's, yeah, dog. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because I have to say, part of what was so bizarre about this particular cold was the symptoms were kind of like lingering. They're on the fringe where I got sick for like 48 hours. I was like full on, you know, fever, chills. Like, okay, I'm sick, clearly. And then after 48 hours, all symptoms disappeared. And then they slowly started coming back. Like I started getting like a cough, which I rarely get. And then I got like stuffed sinuses and started to just get these weird symptoms that were lingering. So I was basically in denial. Like the entire time I was like, oh, I'm not sick anymore, but I probably shouldn't see my romantic partner. Probably shouldn't go into the gym or be around other human beings. I don't want to get other people sick. But I was like feeling okay. So I was like in denial, resistant to just surrender, to be like, oh, I should just nourish my body and do nothing. So for the last like 5 days and beyond, I was just like really resistant to be like, man, I know I'm probably sick because I'm clearly fighting something, but I don't feel sick, but I'm kind of sick. And it was just this weird little lingo or limbo place where I was like, fuck, I just want to be human. I want to go to beaches and do live streams and see my lover and just do whatever. But it's just like I was resistant as fuck. But it is what it is. Now I'm fortunately on the other side of it. You know, all these days have gone by. Mirrors. But yeah, bro, I think in the next couple days I'll definitely be like back and 100% back in action. I'll come back with a tenacity. But yeah. Oh yeah, nah. It is what it is. Cold fights the body. Body fights the cold. Well, that's yeah. Yeah. It's funny how though, like 2 days ago, I was still sick, but I know Moonstar, she was present for this one where I was like chilling in the forest doing a talk about. Basically, I was unpackaging a lot of the things I learned from studying being a personal trainer that had a lot to do with just learning to nourish the body. And it was hilarious because I was literally in the process of like basically having to like physically and psychologically surrender to actually letting my body nourish me. And I was basically going off about how, you know, if you learn to nourish and honor the body, it will honor you. And I was going off on this tangent for like an hour and a half. It was a great talk. I was still like under the weather, so I feel like I didn't fully articulate what I want to articulate. But it was a great talk where it's like clearly on a deep energetic level, the very domain of learning to continuously nourish and honor the body has really been on my mind. And actually part of that is I've been buying a lot of supplements. I bought a bunch of turmeric, really high quality turmeric, bought some camu powder, both extremely good for the immune system. I basically told myself, you know what? If I get better, which I will obviously, or when I get better, I'm basically going to take every day now high quality vitamin C and turmeric every day, like in large doses, to combat and boost my immune system. I was like, somehow I got sick and it was like such a weird, like conflicted feeling where I wasn't dying, but it was like my immune system, I think it didn't fight off this as well as it could. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to double down and just like get some high quality vitamin C and turmeric and all this beautiful stuff in there. Which is great. It's a great lesson. I'll take that any day of the week. You know, I'll take a little head cold in place of learning some valuable little lessons. Like, fuck it. Yeah. Time and a bank line seems forever. A rave or fun party passes so fast. Learn to reverse it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I go to raves so often, I have to say, they become like timeless portals. Yeah. Yeah. But I have to say, yeah, I mean, because naturally, you know, I party sober. I go to raves sober. And surely this experience of like going to these shows and giving myself permission to just celebrate existence continuously, whatever, of course, without any sort of intoxicant, I find that's a game changer where raves are not only like a place where I can be really present, where it's like time doesn't seem to go by fast, truthfully. For me, it's the opposite. When I go to raves, it feels like it's like a timeless entity where I'm just like so present and I experience all these parts where it, sure, in some regards, it could go by fast. I'm like, whoa, those 4 hours felt like 1 hour. But I think for especially things like that, like, you know, celebrating existence, if you can be really present with the places where you celebrate existence, then time kind of just disappears. Like it doesn't even, it's not even, it goes fast or slow. It just doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. That's kind of where I've been at. Nice. I think it's you that's changed, Red Power Ranger. That's crazy though, this Red Power Ranger. Yeah, but nah, no one's changed, dog. Dave, I'd chat with you on the monad thing. Explore your thoughts. I have to say, just from what Dave unpackaged, beautiful concept. Like what he's speaking with the monad. I've never really heard of the monad in depth, but a very interesting take about. Yeah, I'm gonna go back actually to what Dave was saying, because that was, I don't know, I've rarely heard. Let's see, being connected with others when you think of the thieves of that. So if you do deep trance, the quantum leap, you're in the monad. Yes. See, that's very intriguing because I personally, in very brief blips, actually, I've spoken this very briefly, how I began to unpackage metaphysical anomalies in my own experience. That is, I began to see things that made me convinced solely, this happened about 9 or 10 years ago, that yes, the quantum, you know, the quantum theory is true. And, you know, if we understand how to unpackage like metaphysical, well, philosophy, I began to see truth in this when I was experiencing quantum leaps. So I found that very interesting. You're saying when you enter a deep meditative state and you access the quantum, yes, and you experience quantum leaps, the monad reveals itself. Yeah, I gotta really look into that, man, because I really am not familiar with that too much. Excuse me. Man, lungs. I think I really gotta take some time to just do some meditation with a humidifier and do some cold plunges and get my health back into my priority. I mean, it has been obviously, but I think, yeah, it's gotta nourish my body a little bit. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Dave. That's got an intriguing stream of thoughts that you've been flowing through, man. Like I have to say, it's nice. I like it. Oh, damn. 10%. My phone is at 10%. That's crazy. I'll charge this guy. Double slit experiment. Yes, consciousness is a force. I'm doing this stuff for a while. The moment things new for me, maybe a year, if anything's interesting and thought-provoking. I gotta definitely look into that a little bit more, I have to say, but the monad. Yeah. It's a fundamental invisible unit representing unity, individuality, and the basic substance of reality. The term monad comes from the Greek words monas, unity, and monos, alone. It was first used by the Pythagoreans to denote the first metaphysical being, or the origin of all things. Huh. Wow. Getting to some ancient precepts of metaphysical philosophy.
Philosophers like Plotinus and Porphyry, what names, also explored the monad as foundational principles in Neoplatonism. Wow. I sort of get what you mean now by the monad, but not... Wow. Outside of my own domain. That's crazy, though. I started studying hypnosis in 1999, went deep in 2008. Wow. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. I mean, damn. I've been really intrigued in hypnotherapy myself, just for the sake of, you know, learning to be a student of the power of suggestion. Like, really just learning. But that's... Wow. Congratulations on that. Like, so you studied hypnosis and went deep in 2008. Yeah, all I know is, like, I know so little about hypnotherapy in a larger context. I mean, it intrigues me. I actually had a previous partner, probably about 5 years ago, where she studied hypnotherapy a lot. You know, she was really into it. She undergoed hypnotherapy quite extensively. It was like life-changing in her experience in relation to her own trauma, and she just advocated it so deeply. So I found that very intriguing. She was a very intelligent individual. I mean, I think she was on a path that she needed to still unpackage more within that, but very intriguing. Hypnosis. You know, because part of what I think I'm really intrigued, I've spoken this once or twice, is I would love to in the future, because you know what I do in this channel is I've been trying to really lean into creating really high quality meditative sound journeys. You know, I love to do the YouTube streamer thing, just kind of flow, riff, connect the dots about different philosophies, but part of my intention, like, I can see as I'm a large streamer, once I have like a 10x or 100x sized channel, is basically, yeah, going to be doing very elaborate meditative journeys, where it's like I'll be doing like guitar, streaming into various different like sound portals, and doing meditative, almost hypnotherapy like prompts will be a direction I'm going to go into, where I'll just be, you know, basically creating these very interesting sort of meditative visual journeys that are translated from, you know, the power of suggestion. It's going to be very interesting. It's something I'm very tentatively leaning into, but it's exciting to think about. Honestly, just the thought of like doing that, leaning into hypnosis as a whole, just studying it informally, seems very interesting. I love that shit. Wow. Yeah, I have to say, I'd have to look into that. I mean, I think in the next like coming months, definitely once I'm like, you know, cashing larger YouTube paychecks and basically just making consistent disposable income, that's definitely one of the things I would love to invest in. It's just like going to like somatic places, like doing lots of cold plunges and saunas and investing in all these cool little luxuries. And I think float tanks, like sensor deprivation tanks, would be a great investment, I must say. Right. That's awesome, dog. Yeah. It gets very deep, I can imagine. Like, I feel like I'm more in a place where I want to playfully explore it. You know, maybe take it to some particular place. But I think I'm very interested just to do it, definitely just for my own playful exploration, to see how I can creatively integrate it. Just even understanding the power of suggestion and how to really just create a very beautiful meditative trance with the power of suggestion. But I don't know. Something I'm very open to looking into more so. Phenomenal. All right, well, I think we're probably going to put a close to the stream at this point. Yeah, fair enough, brother. Yeah. Cook for the fam. Thank you for your words, brother. Thank you for your words. Appreciate you. Stay on your path and be aware. Thank you, dog. It's sometimes a little bit strange or difficult to see I become desensitized, but I deeply appreciate your presence, brother, and you sharing that. I know it becomes more and more prevalent when I take a step back and really reflect on what is unraveling in front of me. It's like so beautiful, but it's interesting. Yeah, it's sometimes interesting to be caught in like a tunnel vision. So I appreciate your words and your reflection, brother. Thank you. And thank you so much for sharing, Dave. Like, again, your perspective and insights is very valuable, my guy. Yeah. So cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it again. I feel like part of what I can take away from these last 6 7 days of being sick or whatever, and even just seeing my 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 romantic partner yesterday, and like spending all the day with her and just being like being so present and being like, wow, I am so powerfully blessed. Like even if I am met with, challenges, strife, little obstacles, it's like it's always going to be a means of shaping an open perspective of how much I have to be grateful for in this reality. Like it's like even if I'm sick for a week, how grateful am I to now have the ability to ride this wave of momentum that brings me back, to all these beautiful things that I now can appreciate and do and really appreciate further. Anyways, just a silver lining as per usual. Yeah, phenomenal. Magic. Well, thank you so much for chiming in. I think we'll put a close at the 2 hour and 15 mark. But yeah, feel free to subscribe to this channel if you're not already. If you resonate with this content, I teach guitar and I do meditative sound journeys among various types of guitar YouTuber and YouTuber stuff. Yeah. And we're excited to say that we're finally about 3 days off from being fully monetized, which is an exciting benchmark. I think I'll be at this place where it's going to definitely inspire me to create even higher quality content, to do some really experimental styles of live streams that I feel like I'm going to want to almost like aim to create content from. Like I don't know, I have various different experimental directions I'd love to take this, but yeah, it's a beautiful embodiment. Like once you seem to just like radiate that, like a genuine source of gratitude, it's like it really becomes what your entire reality gravitates around, like in a very beautiful way, where it's like it's hard not to just look at your life and be like, holy shit, there's so much to be grateful for. But anyways, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate the support deeply. Remember to honor yourself and to honor each other. Thank you. Thank you. Ashe. Bless. Thank you.